What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How are all you beautiful people doing? What's up, chat? What's up, everybody? As you guys can see, we have a packed house. We got an all-star panel this week, man. Shout out to everybody watching live. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. You guys do this every single week. You guys come hang out with us. You guys shoot your shit. We have a bunch of fun here at the Shop Podcast, and I appreciate all of you gentlemen and ladies too that watch on the replay as well. But like I said before, we got some all stars in the house, man, and I got to go ahead and get around this panel, make sure everybody is represented.
And then we got Umbra too, by the way. Everybody.
And then we got
so we got all stars and we got Umbra. So
man, you guys,
and then you got me a superstar.
No. We had the Hall of Fame class, and then one of the bench players showed up. Jesus.
Oh my god, you guys! This show wouldn't be what it is. You guys know how it is when we get them two on, man. I love it. I love it. And speaking of a great segue too, Punk, I appreciate that. We're gonna start with our guests. We're gonna start with Mr. UE5 sliding in, the bald and the beautiful. How you doing, Umbra?
See, now that's the type of welcome I should get. This is why PTK is a host. I wish Pong could learn a thing or two about that. I really do, But hey, alas.
Just do your intro. We got a time limit here.
Wow. Okay.
This is how guests are treated on the
No, just you.
Here,
just you.
on the Shop Podcast. Yeah, it's crazy. You hear this energy, K?
I got nothing to say. I am indeed stunned.
Sometimes I feel so bad for Fuzzy because Fuzzy is the lone one here, just bald headed like me, holding on. I get it. Listen, all love. Happy to be here with you guys tonight and try to bring some enlightenment to Pong because he needs it. And we have two other great brothers. Excuse me, three. I'm gonna say three, better yet, three other brothers to help in that endeavor with all of you all here. So, hey. Listen, it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. You know that. So I'm ready to chop it up when you all are.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Umbra, for hanging out. You guys know Umbra, man. Go check him out. All of that information is down in the description below. And I got my other partner, my fellow Florida friend, man. Shout out to K. Asante for coming through, brother. First and foremost, man, glad to hear we were chopping it up in pregame. Glad to hear you and the family are doing well. You guys down there, down there in Florida, but glad to hear you guys are okay. But glad to have you back. It's been a little bit of time, brother. Always love having you on. The chat loves having you on. You bring the people with you as well. A man of the people. Shout out to you, Asante, for coming through, brother.
Thank you. No, it's been too long. I apologize. These days, my work schedule, family, and all that makes it a little difficult. But when I have the opportunity to chop it up with my brother Pong Soul, Fuzzy, and of course Mr. Unreal Engine 5 himself, I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to Everborn too, the other half of the show, man. Appreciate you guys. They put on a fantastic show on Saturday morning as well too, man. So go check them out. All of that information is down in the description below. And shout out to Asante once again, brother. Love having you here, bro. I'm so excited this week. When I got that DM, I'm like, thank God. I love having Asante on. So appreciate having you here as well too, man. And then got my other brothers, my two right-hand man, Mr. Pong. So how you doing? I know I didn't consult you on the guest this week.
Obviously not.
I thought I hit send on the email. I gotta check. I thought I hit. Okay.
Nah. I got lost somewhere.
I think so, man.
Yeah. No, it's great to be back here. Obviously it's been way too long since I've been on a show with Kay. So great to see you, Kay, and thank you for dropping in here and give us your time, man. How busy you are, and you've been traveling all over the world and doing crazy stuff, cool stuff, and you got your show with Everborn, of course, on the morning right alongside me and Steele. So just appreciate you showing up, man, because it has been too long, brother. So great to have you here.
Always great connecting with you, man.
Oh yeah, man, it is. It's fantastic. I love hearing your thoughts on this stuff, man. We got a lot to talk about this week too.
Yeah.
And Umbra, I love you, brother. I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. I lay on the stick pretty tough. I got to remind everybody that it is just a stick because I was doing it earlier this week on PM to PM, and I did it this morning. I live in split screen too, even without you being around. So I was like, yeah, I got to remind everybody I love this dude. There ain't no real beef between me and Umbra, but no. Great to have you, Umbra. As always, man, thanks for dropping in here too. And Fuzzy, great to have you back, sir, after a week off.
Yeah, man.
Missed you last week, man. So it's great to be back on the show with you. And we didn't get to do Xbox Ultimate last night either. So really good to talk to you, sir. And of course, PTK, man. It wouldn't be a Saturday without you, my friend. So thank you. Thank you all. What a week. Man, Gamers Christmas Part 3 for some of us. Not everybody. Not everybody. But not everybody's going to agree on the state of play. Not everybody's going to agree on TGS and what Xbox showed. But for me, Gamers Christmas number 3 this year, man. This has been crazy. What a fantastic show. New IP dropping, new games dropping and showing off. So we're going to talk about that. That's been fantastic. I put out a post this week as far as game playing goes. I'm a grazer. You all know this. I have zero problem juggling, 5, 10, 12, 15 games at a time. I just don't care. But normally, when I pop in to play, even in short periods, I usually have 1 or 2 that really stick out. That's how you usually, play games or decide to play a game. With this plethora of games that have been dropped into our laps over the past month or 2 months now, and then on top of some other games that I've picked up on sale, I'm having a real problem. This is a rare time for me where I'm pulling up my list of games, and I don't know what I want to jump into because I have a whole lot of them that I want to get to. So this has been a problem this week. I won't take long because we got big guests and we got a lot to get into, but what I will say is I'll just shout out a couple of them. You guys know my love for Frostpunk 2, which I've started playing. You guys obviously know I started playing Aura, History Untold, also on PC. I'm the strategy dude. Love both of those games. Haven't played as much of them as I would want to because I have so many games. 2 games I want to shout out. First of all, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. For all you old heads out there who remember Lollipop Chainsaw, listen, there's been some people who said, I don't know if it's worth it. They took out the soundtrack, etc. I picked it up on PC. I am glad I picked it up. I think that this is worth a buy to support the devs bringing this game up to date. Again, it's not a redo. They're not remaking it. It is a straight remaster, but my God, the game still holds up. Yes, the soundtrack not being there does take away a little bit from the original game, but at the same time, all the improvements graphically and all that kind of stuff, plus they give you a new version of the game and the old version of the game on top of it, both uncensored, again, the old version exactly how it was on 360, well worth my purchase. I'm really happy that I picked this game up. It is so good to be back playing that game. So Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, not a perfect game. There is a couple issues here and there, but still fun as hell to this day and worth your time. And if you've never played it and you like quirky, action-heavy games, again, think kind of Devil May Cry Bayonetta light, but with B-movie flick atmosphere to it through and through, pick up Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. It's worth your time. And then the other one I want to shout out is Witchfire. This is a game that's in early access. It was an Epic Game Store exclusive. It is now on Steam in early access. Yes, PC only. Eventually, I do think this will come to console as long as it does well, which I think it should. But I've been waiting on this game. I did not pick it up when it was in the Epic Store, but I saw it drop into Steam. I was like, all right, let's go pick it up. And I don't hate on Epic. I've got Epic download. I don't care. But I just was like, okay, maybe it's finally time to go pick this up. I picked this up. This is a first-person RPG. That's how they describe it. It also has a lot of roguelike to it. This game is an Unreal Engine 4, not 5, Umbra, but 4. But the dev, and I think he's a solo dev, or it's very close to being a solo dev, uses all the bells and whistles of Unreal Engine 4. So when they do that, Unreal Engine 4 still holds up and can still look fantastic, and this game does. And this is a very deep RPG first-person shooter, okay? And again, it is roguelike as well. But you've got, I think, 6 or 7 classes to choose from. Basically, the concept is you were a super bad person, basically in hell, called up from hell to go hunt down demons, right? And witches and all that shit. You're called up to hunt it, okay? But they got different classes of hunters, okay? And so you get to pick which one you want. You got skill trees, you got crafting, you've got loot, you've got all your mainstays of RPG, and then you got some unique mechanics involved. There's like this almost like a quick move as you're approaching an enemy, which will temporarily put up a weak spot, but the weak spot's outside of the enemy, randomly around them, and if you can shoot that fast enough, you actually stun them. So that adds an element of strategy as you're entering combat with these things. You got magic spells to go along with weapons, including guns, obviously. It's just Super dope game. I hope more people try it on PC. I've been watching a lot of people play it up to the point where I bought it. I know some people in this community have raved about it on X as well. That was why it was on my radar originally. And I'm so glad I picked this up. And I got to play it more. Just really started it out, but I wanted to shout that out for everybody who is starting to get into PC game playing. Go try Witchfire. It's well worth your time. So there we go. There's my sales pitch for the week.
Got out the sales pitch, guys, for the week. Got to make sure we get that in. Shout out to you, Pong. Appreciate you, man. Make sure you playing those games, people, man. Always take Pong's advice on them games, man.
No, let's not do that, because not everybody has the same taste as me.
I know. But go check them out. Go check it out. Go check it out. They're at least worth that. Fact. Shout out to you. Appreciate it. Last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, my other brother. Glad to have you back this week, man. The show feels weird without you, brother. It's clearly, you can tell you're missing when you're not here, bro. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Well, last week went to the movies with the wife and got to see, what was it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like a three segments, or not three segments, but like three iterations from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and then the following night was for Evil Dead. So got to enjoy that.
Nice.
Not every time that you get to go to like a drive-in movie theater, and it's kind of cool, that they still exist and stuff. But man, so glad to be back here with you guys. So glad we got some special guests on here tonight. Gaming news has been pretty good. Some highs and lows, some excitement and some disappointment as well. But man, we got a lot to get into, so I can't wait to get into it. But just as far as games I've been playing, as I've probably been saying for the past few weeks, State of Decay 2, loving it. Looking forward to State of Decay 3. They also have an update for State of Decay 2. The last update, it'll be update number 38. So that's how many updates they've been doing to that game and supporting it since its launch and stuff. But that's coming next month. We got, what do you call them? Actually, was it Monday? You got Shattered Space for Starfield, and I'm looking forward to. Still playing a good bit of Forza Horizon 5. I finally cracked the 800 ceiling as far as 800. I think I'm at like 805 unique cars without buying the additional DLC and stuff like that. So pretty much I'm pretty close to having all the cars in the game that aren't the extras and stuff like that. But outside of that, I actually dived into the Division 2 today, because apparently they're having a 5 times XP special, I think, until Tuesday.
You're gonna make me download it, brother.
So I wound up going up. Yeah, I wound up going like 100 levels or something like that. So I'm like watch level 3105 or something like that now. So, but it's still fun. Can't wait until they give us some more info on the Division 3. I'm really hoping they pay attention to what the Descendant did as far as some of the things they've added or incorporated into their looter shooter, like having it where you can join somebody's instance and stuff and help them out and whatnot, and make it seamless. Like if they can do that or knock that out, I'll be happy. Like the whole persistent world thing, almost like the way Destiny does it. Maybe throw in like a public event or something like that. Yeah, that's the only other things I want other than snow. Put seasons in there. Copy the guys over at Playground from Forza Horizon 4. Add snow, every so often type of thing, because I think that's the biggest thing missing from 2. That was like a big draw and a big part of the whole mystique for Division 1 and stuff, was that snowy, quiet atmosphere, especially in the dark zone and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, just looking forward to some games between now and next month in November. Man, it's getting the backlog is getting overwhelmed right now. So and it's not going to let up anytime soon. So that's always a good thing. But let's get this show started. Glad to be here with you guys. Let's do this.
Man, shout out to everybody. Once again, hit the retweet button, hit the like button, subscribe. Everybody, appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much for hanging out with us. But let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. So it is showcase season, like Pong alluded to. Part 3 for some people. Now, everybody's expectations are a little bit different, but I want to get into some of these showcases. We will start with the Sony State of Play showcase. So I kind of want to approach this. I got a bunch of intelligent gentlemen here, I want to approach this from a little bit of a different angle. Not so much like the individual things that we saw, and we'll get into that at State of Play too, because I want you guys to get into that as well. But I just kind of want to approach it more, because I've kind of harped on this, not harped on it, but just continuously brought it up because it continues to happen. Where is Sony going? And I kind of want to approach this situation from that. Like, did you guys get a clearer picture of where they're going at this point after this State of Play? So we're going to start with our guests. Start with you, Asante. Haven't been here in a while, brother, but I kind of want to approach this from a little bit of a different angle, but you can always throw in what you like, what you saw, all of that good stuff too, brother.
No, I appreciate that. So to answer your question directly, where are they going? It seems that no one is immune to missteps, right? So it seems no one is immune to those missteps. And what's happening is, it looks to me that because they are the market leader and they have the benefit of being able to pick and choose what they want, since they've had some visible missteps, they're doing quick work to kind of pick and choose some great second and third party money hats or whatnot, to try and obfuscate from the fact that they may not have a clear and concise roadmap in the next, I don't know, 24 months. You know what I mean? If not more, right? Ghost of Yotai looked really, really good. I'm a huge Tsushima fan. I've played all of it on PS4, kind of touched it a little bit on PS5. Pause. I'm sorry. Forgive me. and then I bought it on PC and played it again. Hey, man. Hey, man. I know my company. I know the company I keep. It's fine. It's fine. But yes, so I love the Ghosts, I guess, series now you can call it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring with Yotai. I love to see that it looks like you have a wolf companion. It reminds me of, oh my God, it's this old ass game that I totally forget the name of right now. It was on Xbox, and you were a cop, and you'd walk around with your dog, and at any moment's notice, you could just like sick your dog.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't forgot the name of the game.
The name I see the game in my mind.
I see it in my head too. Yep.
Yes, I will look it up and I will remember. But needless to say, some of the stuff they showed I thought was pretty good, right? I was talking to some friends while we were watching this. I'm a huge not to talk about the games we've been playing, but I have been like knee deep in Astrobot. Nice. I love that game. I think that game is great. And the reason why I love that game so much is it's one of those games that I can play with my kids around. Hell, my son will steal my PlayStation Portal and go play it because he has to play the robot game. Like, they love this game. And it's made me want to love the game and play it as well. I've been playing the difficulty levels, the higher difficulty levels. Mr. Unreal Engine 5 over there already beat it and platinumed it, so he knows what I'm talking about. Needless to say, I loved seeing that they have more coming as far as DLC for it. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciated that stuff. I really, really enjoyed what I saw. If I was a PlayStation only gamer, right? There's a lot of different diversity and variety out there. There's a variety, which is what makes me an Xbox gamer, because they are all about that variety. They are all about that variety and that diversity in content and different tiers.
They just don't get the benefits of having the variety.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So from that aspect, I really, really did appreciate it. But if you are, and I always say that he coined the term, so I will give him credit. If you are a grazer like me and Pong, I was okay with it. Like, for me, as a grazer, as he has coined, right? I try to keep playing every single game system I have. I play my Series X, I play my Series S, I play my PC, which I love, and then I have handhelds that I play, right? And depending on what use case I have, I pick up and go. These days, the PlayStation Portal, which was gifted to me by an awesome human being, that gets more of my attention than the PS5, because sitting there on the couch requires nobody bother me, and that ain't gonna happen when I got a 5 and a 7-year-old. So I'm usually on the floor. The PS Portal's next to me. I'll get a game in here and there if my son isn't stealing it from me. So the idea that they have that diversity is awesome for me. But as a person who's trying to justify or trying to continue to find reasons to turn on my Portal, it's been increasingly difficult, right?
So, and pause for a quick second, because I want to elaborate on top of that. And this goes back to my original question. where is Sony going, right? What is the goal of this showcase? Now, you pair that with, you have new hardware out, right? You drop this PS5 Pro, you have the 30th anniversary edition that sells out extremely quickly. So like you mentioned earlier, these things are those things like stopgaps? Are those things kind of, we're going to try and push this out as far as we can, this goodwill, until we actually have something that we can actually show? Because like you said, there were rumors early that it was a bunch of third party, a lot of indies, and that's pretty much what it was. Now, like you said, we got the variety there, but if you're a Sony fan, you did not get a showcase this year.
Yeah. And I gotta be honest with you, like, people forget, but this is exactly the same playbook that Xbox took, right? When they didn't have that diversity, when they didn't have too many bullets in the chamber, they were like leaning on third parties. And that's exactly what Sony is doing right now. It is what it is, right? So I won't fault them, right? They've made some moves that didn't work out well for them. You know, Concord being very notable, a few others, right? They've canceled things and all of that. So I suspect that they're trying to run out the clock until they have something to show. Right now, to your point about the PlayStation Pro, I was hoping that they would somehow justify its existence with this show, and to me personally, they did not, right?
At all.
At all.
That was my biggest issue. It was the present. I get all of the, the hardware and the tech, all of that's great, but when you got, you got them up there talking, it looks like it looks like a PBS special. It's not very entertaining. You know what I mean? Like,
and let me be clear though. I don't care about games that show off the hardware. Like, me personally, I don't care. If I want a game that shows off my hardware, I will go play on the 4090. I'm not trying to be facetious or anything like that. I'm just saying that's just me, right? So I buy the hardware for its use case and I'm good. But the reason why I bring this criticism is because this is how they define their marketing. They're always about the look at us. We have the whiz bang. We got the most powerful. We have this, we have that. So by that barometer, I expected them to show me something. Show me a reason why this thing exists. Show me a reason why this will give you so much more than you have with the base PlayStation 5. And in this showcase, none of that was clear to me. So it is what it is. And by the way, while we were having a quick chat, I just Googled PlayStation Direct. You can buy a pre-order a PS5 Pro even right now, right? So to me, it's not all criticism, right? If you are my use case where you have multiple devices and you're trying to find justifications for them, before Astrobot, my thing was collecting dust since Spider-Man 2. That's just me, right? And now Astrobot's got me making use of it. I'm hoping that before too long, they'll have something else that's interesting. For me, they're running out the clock. That's what they are doing, right? They don't have first-party runway to show you because first-party runway isn't necessarily ready right now, right? Ghost of Yotai looks amazing. I'm really looking forward to it, but it is the Spider-Man 2 to Spider-Man 1, right? And let me be absolutely clear about that. I don't think that's a bad thing. I've always advocated, if you've built this world and you have these assets and you have all this stuff ready to go, I did not play your game initially and love your game because of unique assets. I loved your game because of the great story you told, the awesome mechanics you used, all of that, right? So give me more in that world. I don't care if you regurgitate assets, as long as you give me more in that world and you give me some unique experiences in that world. I'm like, I am the one-man band who's still 10 toes down with a flag, like waving back and forth. Where is my next DLC campaign for Halo Infinite in that world? I would have loved that. I would have paid cash money for that, right? Right? So I don't hate on them for that, but I know what it is. It is a quick stopgap to, satiate your public while you're working on bigger, better games in the background, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with all the remasters and remakes, right? There's a lot of remasters and remakes. I get crap from, and as soon as I said it, I see his face in the chat. I get crap from MJ Dark and a whole bunch of other people about my love for Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. I have put hundreds of hours in that game. To be fair to myself, I do, because my daughter loves the monsters and we play together, and that's just my bonding exercise with my daughter. But still, I have put 300 and some odd hours into that game, right? And I keep doing it. I even bought the PC version. But even I am like, why another remaster for this game? Where is the Bloodborne remaster that people actually remake, where people would actually line up and be super happy to purchase, right? So I just think that they're in flux right now. You know, I've been the guy always advocating to people that just because Team Blue and Team Green all still have their logos doesn't mean that the situation on the ground doesn't change, right? Some of the decision makers have changed, right, on both sides, and as such, you will see that your impervious PlayStation may not be so impervious anymore. They may need to take a beat, you know what I mean? Like regroup. They still have great games, right? They still have great thoughts. Obviously, like I love Astrobot. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best platformers that PlayStation has released in years. I think it completely makes a Big Sack Boy. Yes, I said Big Sack Boy. That's how I say it. I left those him in the bushes, right? So we shall see. You know what I mean? I'm not above being surprised by PlayStation. I'm not above being surprised by PlayStation Pro and the pisser. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for magic. And so far, their roadmap and their technology and some of their choices of marketing has left me a little lackluster, but it was a decent show, like no doubt. I wouldn't call it a 4 or a 3 or a 2 or something like that. If you came there to see games that you'll be playing on your PlayStation, it was a solid 7, if not an 8. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed the show.
All right. A lot of great points in that. So you got a lot to back up there, Umber, but I kind of want to get your, and just to piggyback off his points there, and it's not necessarily like, there's a lot of expectations for PlayStation, right? Even being an Xbox fan, we generally kind of know what Sony's doing. Like we generally got a good idea of how they're going to take advantage of certain situations, things that they do. It seems really, I don't say erratic, but just the things that they're doing currently right now, it just looks like a lot of, they're just trying to buy time at this point in time. And like you said, they still have games, they still have IPs, they still have the talent, they still have the brand strength. Those things aren't going anywhere. But we're September, October, basically no actual full showcase at all at this point. State of play, the variety was great there, but let's go ahead and get your point on this, brother. What do you think about the state of play and just them going forward?
Well, I guess I can start with my score. I gave it a 6 out of 10, just to get that out of the way. I didn't think the show was phenomenal or anything, but I didn't think it was bad either. But what I will say is that Ghost of Yote clearly saved the day for it. And the reason why it did is we go by the metrics of our Who brothers. They have for years moved the goalpost, but one of the things they've stuck with is that third party cannot be used as a measure for your show. I'm sure you all remember this. Now they've changed narrative so many times that it's kind of hard to figure where they stand now. You know, now I will give it to some of our more prominent brothers over there. They actually gave it like a 2.5. I saw.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Yeah.
So they were far harsher than I am. So if anybody's hearing me and they're like, "Oh, you bot," no, I'm much more lenient than a lot of your own PlayStation brethren when it comes to this. And so for my view of it, it's I think the show was paced well. The problem again though is that a lot of those third-party games, 12 of them at least, are coming to Xbox. And I know it's a joke, a running joke that people typically tune in for to see what's coming to Xbox, but it has proven to be the case almost routinely, right? So they did show, I believe, at least one game that I had not really heard of or remembered. Somebody, AJH, shout out to him. He said that this game was shown before, but I had never seen it that I can remember. Archage.
No, I had never seen that either. You guys saw that? I don't recall ever seeing that anywhere.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was the first time it was ever shown up.
Okay.
There were other Archages, right? That might be. It's been a series, so there has been games before.
Has it been a while in between the games?
Yeah, it has been. And the last one didn't take off at all. Like it didn't do well. But we have not seen this one, and then Steele said he had never seen it, and he keeps up on MMOs even more than I do. I think this was the first time it was ever shown. I mean, obviously any of us could be wrong, but I don't think we've seen this one.
Yeah, it's the first for me. So, I mean, regardless, one way or another, I had never seen it. So, that right there actually did look really good. If it had not been for Yote, that probably would have been the best game shown there. But then again, it would have been third party, so I couldn't exactly boost the show up because of it either. And that is coming to Xbox. I'm not excited about the MMO part of it, but it could be more akin to Diablo 4, which is MMO in name, but it's not exactly an MMO. You know what I mean? It's not WoW.
Yeah.
So that looks really good. I'm thinking it was Unreal Engine too for that, but yeah. That said, I look at the intangibles. Now, your question really was, where did they go?
Yeah.
Like what was PlayStation's plan? Like what are their plans? Where are they headed to? I guess. How did you word it?
Yeah, no, that's pretty spot on. Like, did that clear any? So if you're a Sony fan, right? Like, we're just gonna put ourselves in them shoes, right? Because obviously, objectively, we have to look at these showcases. You just brought up a great point. These are things that their fan base judges them on. These aren't the parameters that we've set up, right? This is how things have kind of set themselves up to be. So if you're looking at things through those lenses, is that picture any more clear for you?
I mean, for me, if I was strictly a PlayStation fan, Kay hit it right on the head. You have the PS5 Pro coming out. Yote did not sell that game, that console, because it looks. I'm not trying to down it when I say this, because I'm going to play it. I'm definitely going to enjoy it, but it does look like a PS4 title. Now that could be, as I made sure to point out on Twitter when I talked about it, that it could be because it's still in development. They haven't finalized the visuals, right? That could very much be the case. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look more impressive than the first game. The first game looks ridiculously good, especially on this OLED. When I turned it on, my eyeballs almost melted. I was like, whoa, this looks good. It was actually the first game I saw on this OLED of mine. Since then I've seen Hellblade, which blew my mind. But that said, I guess it's a case of it still being in development, but it did not sell the Pro. And as Kay pointed out, there's still pros out there to be bought. It's not sold out. I'm sure it's going to do decent enough, but there's a lot of scalpers out there doing what they do.
Oh yeah.
So
selling that thing for a 98 Honda Civic.
Yeah. A few people I know said they got one, so they're going to actually they scalped one. So I said, hey, you getting that 5090 now with that, right? Like, yeah. But all that aside, I mean, if you're a PlayStation fan, I don't know if the show really wowed you versus seeing a sequel for one of their most, I guess, currently beloved titles now with Ghost of Yote, right? And that's really it. And that news was hampered by a lot of these DEI people and all that. Yeah. And I don't.
Although that might be beneficial, we got a Hogwarts, as example that had that worked out for them. It actually worked in the favor of Hogwarts as far as sales goes. But who knows how that played
kind of. But like a lot of us weren't against Hogwarts. It was the media.
That's true. Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, Hogwarts didn't deserve that at all. I stand by that. I was still annoyed by that.
Yeah,
actually. But a lot of these guys making discourse around gaming really annoying when it comes to that. And my thing is, I think Jen's story is finished anyway, so I didn't have a problem with that anyway. But regardless of that, I like the idea of Yote. You got the wolf possibly as a companion. You see the two sword style. You see her with that. I forgot what they call it. That a bunch of different ones. I cannot remember the name of that weapon. But it looks really good. I'm actually really excited for that. So I guess they have that to look forward to. But I think PlayStation has already kind of set the roadmap that it's going to be a lot of third-party titles and possibly third-party exclusive money-headed games that they'll have.
Forgive me real quick because you said the wolf's name again. I have to remember the name of the game now. It's called Dead to Rights.
Dead to Rights. Yeah, Luke. Matter of fact, I got some bills to pay here. Quick before you, Umber. Sorry to cut you off, brother. I apologize. Let me just shout out because Luke did $5 super chat from Luke. He said his panel rocks and we appreciate you. Dead to Rights, and that was the game.
Oh, there it is. There you go. I didn't see it.
So awesome. And then we had 10 gifted from the boy Mass. So shout out to you, Mass. We appreciate that as well too. And then obviously J Mac, he said shout out to the Pantheon. Salute, gentlemen. Shout out to you, J Mac, as well too. But continue, Umber. Sorry about that, brother.
No, you good. This is hey. You can stop me at any time. Ain't nobody stopping this chocolate rain over here. You know,
we have no idea.
Accept yourself with corny ass jokes like that. Let's go.
We have no idea about the chocolate rain because the man does not have a webcam. He spent all his money on his Unreal Engine 5. I'm just saying.
Y'all tag teaming him off the ropes. Come on, man.
It takes more than one man to pin a brother like me down. Wait a minute.
Wow. We're getting diddy up in here. Let's go. Let's go. Who's got the baby oil? Let's get this guy down.
Oh,
Can't
my
stop,
God.
won't stop.
I got baby oil. Y'all ain't catching me. I'm flipping out of there.
Take that.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
We're not doing that.
Hey, listen, it's late over here in Chicago. It's late where y'all at, too. I'm going to have some fun right now. But no, seriously, I think if you're a PlayStation fan, you should be happy with Yote. It's continuing the legacy of the Ghost of Tsushima, or Ghost, I guess, title. And I think they're going to make that kind of an Ubisoft-ish thing, with like the Assassin's Creed thing, where the title of Ghost is going to be claimed by whatever, Ronin or whatever. So I'm good with that. I have no problem with it when it comes to that. And I think that's something they can look forward to. But if you're telling me, hey, this right here, what sold you on a PS5 Pro, nothing that they showed there sold the Pro. Nothing that they've shown so far has sold the Pro. That's the major issue I've had with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they revealed the Pro, it's like they showed all of that, and these were old PlayStation 4 games and such.
Yep.
And like, how would that sell the Pro for anybody, really? I don't really think it does. So that's the problem I have with it. Yote does not sell it. And if I'm sure by the time we see it again next year, I'm sure it's probably going to sell it a bit. It's probably going to look crazy by that point. But currently it did not. And so that's the thing for me. So if it had not been for that title alone, the show probably would have sunk down to like a 3 or a 4. You know what I mean? So.
A lot of that too. I mean, that's Sony's fault though, right? Like, these are the expectations. Heavy is the head, right? That wears the crown, correct? Like, sometimes, they're not immune to these things. And I think this is a moment of clarity for the industry too. Like you said, and Kay brought this up too. Nobody's really immune to like trends or falling off a little bit or missing every now and then, right? Like, and I just think sometimes we got to acknowledge, like, Xbox has come an extremely long way. They do, have missteps along the way, but they generally tend to do extremely innovative things that don't get the credit for those, get the credit until like way later. And we realize, like, oh, that actually really that was very important. Like, we appreciate the fact that they did that. But I just, it's kind of odd seeing Sony in this position. And I think for me, Umbra, the biggest thing is just the unpredictability of Sony. I used to feel like I knew kind of where Sony was going. Like, as far as like, they're going to do the obvious thing. They're going to lean on the first party stuff. It's going to be high quality, all those things. They're not even close at this point, as far as what they've shown us from the state of plays, things like that. That's not even on the radar.
You know what it could be too? It could just be the fact that, because we know they got stuff cooking. They got the show cooking, right? So it could just be the fact that these guys are gearing up for the next gen. And they're not going to show anything until they have something ready to show for next gen. I mean, it could be that, or something that's going to come out toward the end of the generation.
Yeah.
So it could be that. And they don't, Sony's not like Microsoft when it comes to that. Microsoft will show you something, or they used to, at least, that was 3 or 4 years out. Sony is like, they don't quite operate the same when it comes to that. They'll probably show it to you a year out or so. So it could just be a matter of that. And the games are not quite ready for prime time. You know what I mean? But I'll add this.
You got to think about too. They threw away 10 games.
Yeah, I mean, but 10 games nobody wanted, to be fair.
Well, and to be fair, we don't know how far along those games. Maybe half of them maybe were just on a chalkboard or dry erase board somewhere. So I guess
that's possible. Yeah, it could have been incubation for a lot of them. I feel like, and I hate to say it, but I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I feel like Fair Games and what's it called? Marathon. I feel like those two are going to go fall to the wayside too. Marathon may survive just off Bungie's name, but I don't feel like Fair Games is going to do that well. The market, I just don't think is ready for that, and they've already kind of shown us. The market has shown us what people are going to go to, and it's it's the Fortnites, it's the Apexes, it's the Call of Duties. I don't think anybody's deviating away from those franchises. But I'll say this too: wherever Sony is going, the media is going to help carry them there. because I keep seeing this almost agenda laden thing where Astrobot Game of the Year, Astrobot Game of the Year. Like I keep seeing it, and I feel like it's something passed down from on high. That's what it reads like when I keep seeing that. And it's one thing if you say it at one time or two. I see it almost every other day. Oh, Astrobot Game of the Year, and I'm like, and I loved Astrobot. As Kay pointed out, I did platinum it. Really great game. Honestly, I gave it a 9. But I am not sold on it because some called it masterpiece. No, I don't think so. Some call it the best platformer PlayStation has ever had. I disagree. and I'm not saying that to try to down it. I just think there are better PlayStation platformers, and I've played plenty of them. I'm a platforming guru in a sense. I love them. I've played them all, and I think it's kind of a recency bias, and because the game is so well done as far as controls and its charm. And even nostalgia, that it kind of gives people this thought like, yeah, this is the best, But regardless of that, you see a lot of this agenda around it to push it into Game of the Year talks. And it might just win it. It's what it's looking like it's going to be. And when I keep seeing people saying that, to me, it seems like the fix is in. No pun intended. So I don't know. We'll see. Whatever they're going to go, the media is going to keep them afloat. That's what I would say.
All right.
Here's my quick question to you, Umbra.
Yes.
Why do you even think that there is a fix? Obviously, the fix is in. The people who keep talking about this as Game of the Year are people who are voting bodies of that Game of the Award show.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, it's not like they're trying to convince anybody. It's just, it seems to me they're just telegraphing how they're going to vote.
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah, pretty much. And maybe it's to kind of let people know, like, hey, don't get your hopes up now. Don't worry about Black Myth or any of those, because none of them getting it. That's the way I look at it. I look at it like, you see in these other games, you see in Black Myth, you see in the new Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom or whatever, and that scored lower than I thought. It still scored way great, don't get me wrong, but I thought that
is an amazing game. I've been playing that as well. Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah? Oh man, it's so good.
I got to get on it, but see, so I expected that to score really high, but it kind of makes me feel like, that didn't score as well as I thought. Because all that love was poured into Astrobot. I don't know. I'm being conspiratorial.
You funny for that.
I'm just saying, like, it felt like Nintendo getting less than a 90 while Astrobot getting that. Listen, whatever. I'm being conspiratorial. That was a tinfoil I borrowed from Everborn. But my whole thing is, you can see, like you said, Katie, they're telegraphing it. They're letting you know, hey, this is about to win Game of the Year from us. And I feel like it's every other game's like opportunity to kind of force that out of the narrative, because that's what they're trying to set out there. So I think whatever it is for Sony, the media, I think they have favorability when it comes to the media.
Oh, for sure.
We've had this talk many times.
Yeah,
it's not even worth going into. I think they'll be fine as it relates to that. They're going to hype up their releases. They're going to hype up games coming to them. Hell, they might not even mention it coming to Xbox as they've done before. So they'll be fine. And I think as the PlayStation gamer, you'll be fine too with this show overall. It might not have been a home run, but I think that's also because Microsoft has been knocking home runs left and right.
Yeah,
that's
year. That's another. Yeah, that's another thing we got to give credit for too. So a lot of great points here. We got to give credit to that too, because the bar for the show has been raised essentially, even by us Xbox fans, right? Like we've gotten phenomenal showcases the last 2 years. From the actual showcase to the developer directs, all of those things have been like A+ for a majority of people. So you're right. Like the showcase, you got things look different when the bar is raised a little bit. So great point there. So I want to get to my guys here too. Pong. We talked about this last week, obviously prior to the State of Play, brother. And obviously I wanted to, kind of talk about this from a little bit of a different angle, than just the games themselves, although we'll get into that as well. But like, is anything clearer? We mentioned this before the State of Play. Where's Sony going? What are they doing? Is that cleared anything up for you?
I don't even know how to approach this question, because I guess we've talked about this time and time again, right? So seeing that, like, this is exactly what I expected. In fact, they surprised me a little bit with Ghost, although I knew that Ghost was available. If you guys remember, I've been talking about Ghost of Tsushima 2 being ready, right? I knew Sucker Punch, they were holding this. And actually, they showed more than I was expecting. Like, I thought we were going to get a tease at some point. They actually showed a lot going on in the game as far as environments go and that kind of stuff. I know we didn't get a lot of, you know, the combat, and that'll come down the road, but I was impressed by what they showed us there. So no, this, I mean, I've been pretty clear with where Sony's at. They are reloading the chamber, but not only are they reloading, they're actually having to go back and redo a lot of things because of how much energy, resources, people that they put into chasing the games as a service and canceling almost half of them or over half of them at this point. That set them back even further on reloading, right? Because they had taken some of their big teams off of major projects and put them on games as a service, and then wound up 3 years in deciding to cancel them all, right? And so that's going to set you back even further. So this, you know, I've said that they got to have a hopes and dreams. They still are working on a lot of games. There's been a couple lists that people have put together of what Sony's been doing, and kind of the same lists that we used to go through with Xbox during, you know, 2022 when everybody was saying Xbox got no games, they're never going to have any games, and we're like, what are you talking about? They got all these freaking studios. Of course these studios are making games, and we used to run down the list of all the stuff we knew, all the, you know, the some of the stuff that was speculation that was out there, and now it's all showing up, right? We're finally starting to get into that actual release time, you know, for Xbox. Sony's the same boat. They've got stuff that's being worked on. They've got stuff that's been in the works for years. And according, you know, Cory Barlog's team is a big one. Naughty Dog's second project, their new IP, has been in the works for quite a while. They've got things they could tease. I've said all along, they've got to have a hopes and dreams showcase. It just hasn't happened yet. But I think this right here is exactly what both, you know, Umbra and Kay Asante pointed out, in a lot of ways with all their great points. Again, yes, we are in filler mode with PlayStation, right? We are in that mode, and that's what they're going to continue to do. Right now on stage, going on, I was watching it before we started here, Kojima is showing off Death Stranding 2. And it's looking absolutely freaking incredible, and that's going to be next year as well. So the way that PlayStation does this, we argued this on the Xbox side for years and years, that they spent all this money to bring games into Game Pass, which is basically the same thing to us as getting exclusive deals. Now, the other side wants to always argue it's not the same, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. For that side, for the Sony-only fans, Sony's got them covered. They're going to continue to make buys. They're going to continue to bring games in that they are going to be exclusives, like your Stellar Blades, like your Black Myth Wukongs, although, you know, again, people want to argue over what happened there. We know money was exchanged in some way, shape, or form. They're going to continue to do that for their fans, and so far it's worked for them, and everybody's okay. And on top of it, you know, yeah, you got rumblings. You got a few more people talking some shit about Sony now, on the PlayStation side, about the remaster situation, about why the hell do we need Zero Dawn to be brought up to date at this point. Yeah, it is getting a little stale, but they've obviously, I've always said, the popular kid in school, people are willing to ignore the bad things. People just want the cool kid to continue to be cool, and they just kind of go along with it for a long time. And they've got a lot of favorability still to this day, so they can get away with this stuff. So that's what they're at right now, and I think that this State of Play did exactly that. And in Sony fashion, right, they did show up at the end with one more thing, which happened to be a first-party title. And they did showcase it, and they did show it off. And what was, you know, again, outside of the, you know, some of the nonsense that goes on now when any video games are announced, for the most part, their fan base was more than happy with it. They had some people upset because some people wanted to continue Jin's story, but more than not, people were praising it. That was the talk of the show. My God, you know, Ghost of Yotai is looking incredible. On Umbra's point, you know, as far as it's not gonna push anything. I never expected it to push anything. This is what we got to get back to. This is why games started taking 6-7 years to come out, right? I am cool because of how gorgeous Ghost of Tsushima was. Now, again, I played it on PC, but how gorgeous that game was, and the art direction isn't one of those that absolutely needs to have the most advanced, you know, engine out there to push. I just think the game is gorgeous by itself, and the way they do the artwork and they do all the environments and the character designs are fine. They're not obviously the most realistic, but that's okay. For the world, it works. It's a gorgeous game. I'm okay with them not going back and redoing everything and trying to push boundaries for the PS5 Pro. I think this is great. They need to get a game out. And they've been in the works for about 4 years now since Ghost of Tsushima ended. And this is a perfect time frame. This is what we got to start getting back to. This is where the industry hasn't been doing, is getting games out, sequels especially, out in a reasonable amount of time. So I'm okay with them just doing what they did with Ghost of Tsushima, which got tons of praise. Now, again, I played about 45 hours. I do want to finish it at some point. However, as I played more and more, the shine, it lost its shine for me a little bit. I never connected with Jin as a character. But it lost its shine. I started out going, oh shit, I know why people are saying this is game of the year. I know why this is one of the biggest games, and people are saying, oh my God, this might be the best game out of the PS4 generation. I kind of understood that when I first started playing it. But as I played more, I'm like, it's a good game, and I understand why a lot of people love it. But to me, it turned more into a Ubisoft game eventually as I played more and more of it, and lost kind of its luster. But that's neither here nor there. As far as the Sony fan base goes, there's a lot of people who love this. So the State of Play did exactly what it did, what it needed to, as far as what our expectations were, then gave a surprise at the end for the Sony fans, a little piece of the roadmap that we've all been clamoring for, saying, Sony, where's your roadmap? They added another little piece for 2025 with Ghosts of Yote. Now, again, people could say, yeah, but we don't know if it's going to hit 2025, blah, blah, blah. I think they're going to shoot for it, and I think Sucker Punch can pull it off. Again, they're not trying to break the mold with this game. They're using a lot of the same stuff that they had from the first game. And there's nothing wrong with that. Studios need to do that. They need to become more efficient. So I think they'll hit 2025, but they did give us a piece of the roadmap for 2025, which not everybody was expecting out of a State of Play. That is showcase stuff. So I think they did their job here. And it was expected, as far as I go, it was what I expected from them. A couple new IP in there that looked interesting. A lot of, obviously, multi-plat games that they're going to share with everybody. But I think they did more than enough to satisfy their fan base, especially their hardcore fan base, that they've got stuff to play. And that they're, while they're waiting to reload, they're going to continue to provide them stuff to play. I think it's a job done that they did the job that they set out to do. That's it. Period.
Man, I love the objectivity. I love being in this place. It's like a breath of fresh air, man.
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who got to you, Paul?
Nobody. I'm always this way, man. I'm glass half full guy for everybody. That's why I've been called a bully bot. That's why I've been called even though I don't own a Sony system at all in my for the first time ever. I just look at things differently because again, they're not in a good spot. I've talked about that. PlayStation isn't in the best of spots. This isn't the PlayStation I remember. Okay, they've made huge, massive mistakes. They've continued to make massive mistakes. If that report that everybody's showing off, which looks legit because I've looked at the link, it looks like a Sony report from September 13th. It looks like they haven't learned some of their lessons. So there's more to be learned. I don't know what Herman's doing. Okay, I've said Herman's a weak link right now. To me, I think the blame for Concord and a lot of things need to be laid at his feet. He needs to take it up. I don't care if Jim was around. Herman's the one greenlighting a lot of this stuff and looking at these games and going, oh yeah, this is the next Star Wars for Sony. What? He needs to take the blame. So I don't trust him anymore and his judgment. And I don't think that Hiroki is a Sony PlayStation only fans friend. I think Hiroki is that money dude in the room who is going to start making decisions that aren't going to appeal for the gamer, for the enthusiast, the PlayStation enthusiast, much like we've had decisions on the Xbox side that didn't appeal to everybody. Hiroki's that dude who's going to come in and do what's best for the company and the shareholders. Okay, period, point blank, end of story. He don't care about you gamers' feelings. All right, he don't care about you console players only anymore. Okay, and he's going to say some things, and they're going to do a little bit. They're going to take lighter footsteps than Xbox has done, but they're slowly getting you over that way and moving in that direction. But Hiroki's the money man, so yeah, they're not in a great spot. But for right now, yeah, they're doing fine. They're still selling consoles left and right. The Pro wasn't made to sell out. The Pro wasn't made to double their fan base overnight. That's not what the Pro was for. We talked about that. They're making money off their biggest fans. That's all they're doing. This is a cash grab through and through. They are making money for those people that need to say, I've got the best system. They bought the braggers out there, and they took those braggers money left, right, and center. But yeah, like you guys said, they're still available because that's not what the system was for. It's not for the masses. So that stuff's going to come later. They don't need to showcase it that much right now because their hardcore fans are going to buy it no matter what, just to say they got the premium experience. They've sold that time and time again for decades. They're continuing to do it now.
Man. All right. Let's throw this over to Fuzz, man. Once again, piggybacking off of all these gentlemen, man, we've already broken this down in multiple different angles here, but obviously just kind of leaning on the Sony angle here, just as far as, where are they going? What does this look like for Sony? And Pong brought up a lot of great points regarding what Sony's doing. And obviously, like I said, I love the objectivity here, but if we pull away from that a little bit, the expectations, I still think even for us, and I don't think any of us really, maybe, we're pretty down the middle, but I think the majority of us are PC and Xbox guys here. So even looking at it from our standpoint, like, I just don't think Sony, I think, like I said before, I think that we're seeing them having to make these adjustments in real time. They're going through a different type of adjustment period than Xbox, right? Yeah. Xbox has a lot of things that they need to clean up, and they've had to go through growth and buy all these studios and do those types of things. PlayStation has to move a little bit differently, right? So the market's changed a little bit. So where you at on going forward with PlayStation, the showcase overall, state of play, what you think as well too?
Well, overall, I gave it a 7, just because from a gaming standpoint, if you're already in the PlayStation ecosystem, it was a decent show. You got to see some games that are multi-plats and also some that are like timed exclusives, some PSVR PSVR 2 stuff, as well as a future game for 2025. All of that's great. If you were outside the PlayStation ecosystem, I would give a lower score at that point, because at least for me, if I was holding out on getting my PS5, which I've had since launch or something, I didn't really see anything other than Ghost of Yotai that would be the extra nudge or push to go ahead and pick that hardware up. And for me, already being an owner of a PS5, I was hoping that they would show something that would make the PS5 Pro a little more enticing. And much like what Kay said earlier, they didn't pull that off either. I love the fact that they're doing the ray tracing on track now for Gran Turismo 7 for the PS5 Pro. But I was hoping they would have, at least with them having that one more thing at the end of the show, it would have been nice, especially since they reintroduced the PS5 Pro in that same state of play, with Mark Cerny making an appearance again. It would have been nice to have a breakdown of, and this is what it looks like on the PS5 Pro. Like, it doesn't have to look that amazing, but it would have been nice that they made certain call outs to it as far as what to expect from that game. For me, it looks great enough in what they showed, especially if it's still something that's in development before, final stages of polish and whatnot. I was very, very happy the way it looked on the PS4, and it didn't really improve that much on the PS5 in comparison. If you were to do side by sides, it was just a matter of the resolution was a little bit higher res natively, as opposed to, the upscaling that they wound up doing on the original PS4. But overall, it was a great looking game. I would say with the PS5 Pro now being a thing, they should have shown something that's like, hey, you're going to see this, and this, maybe have ray trace audio and, specular lighting and God rays and all that other good stuff. That should have been the stuff that they highlight during that state of play to kind of nudge the person that might be on the fence for the PS5 Pro. Because for me, if I'm trading in my PS5 and I got to spend another $300 or $400 to get that hardware, you got to sell me on why I need to spend that extra $300 or $400. And they didn't do that for me, but that's a me thing. So for me, overall, not a bad show, not the greatest show. I would have hoped that they would start leaning in towards doing an actual showcase, so we see an actual roadmap. And I know we'll eventually get that, but it just feels weird that it's gone on that long without one. But the only other grudge or gripe that I have with the showcase is the whole Horizon Zero Dawn. And I know people are like, well, if you didn't pick it up prior, shame on you, which I already had it originally. And then I got the free full version that included the DLC when they gave it out with COVID. But I'm pretty sure, knowing Sony, because they've done this before, that free version is not going to be upgradable. And I hate doing the upgrades from disc. So it's like I'm not buying it now, especially after they doubled the price on the thing. It's like, oh, you pulled it out of the service. Oh, shame on me for, I guess, not playing it then, although I played it when it came out. And then shame on me for not picking it up when it was $20. Now it's going to be $40 plus the $10 upcharge to kind of, I don't know. It just feels like if you're going to double the price, then at that point, anybody that buys it at that $49.99 should get the upgrade for free. But this is Sony. They're like someone said earlier, they're going to get or squeeze as much money out of their fans as they possibly can. And it just feels like they want to hit them over the head a couple of times. It's like, oh, wait, you didn't buy it when it was 20. How about you buy it when it's 40 and then give us an extra $10 for it to look better, kind of thing. And it just feels like it's something that didn't have to happen or didn't need to exist. Like, I'll be honest, after playing, Forbidden West, it's great that they have that facial glow. I didn't need that in the older game. I'm not going to go back just to see that facial glow stuff. Like, that's silly to me. When they put it on PC, to me, that's as good as it needed to look, and that's it. You didn't need to go any further. You didn't need to waste time. I know it's the low-hanging fruit. They can, get the money, a lot easier out of the fan base by having something that they could put out in front of them in a couple of years, as opposed to doing what to me it would have made more sense to do Horizon 3 instead. But
yeah,
or at least show that. But that's, I guess, still a few years in the distance. But it just feels weird to me that they went back after making the PC port to go back and do the facial glow stuff that they did in Forbidden West and not do a bundle. Like, if you're going to go through that extra trouble, now start selling it as a bundle for that $49.99 or something to that effect. That, I don't know. Some of the fan service or things that other platforms have done in similar situations, to me, would make more sense. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's Sony. They're going to do what they're going to do. People are going to eat it up and then move on. But I don't know. Reasonable showcase or reasonable state of play, bad customer treatment, I guess you could say, or business practices on their behalf. But that's nothing new for Sony. Raising the controllers up $5. Having only 12,000 and some odd 30th anniversary. Which,
odd number, oddly specific, right?
Yeah, it to me, why not just do 30,000 of them or something? I don't know what the 12,000 represents, but in any event, they knew what they were doing. It's just a matter of now they're not even going to get all of the money because all the scalpers are going to get the extra money, because for each one that they bought, they could probably sell for 2 and 3 times what Sony is getting out of the deal. But it is what it is. I think they would have been better suited taking care of their fans, kind of like that arbitrary line system that they had before. Oh, based on your gamer score and your activity, you can you get automatically put into the queue. That would have made more sense as well. But I wasn't going to spend $1,000 on a 30th anniversary. Like, I don't need a remastered console. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to me. If they had sold the panels separate, maybe, but I already bought the black panels for my launch edition. And until they release an Edge controller in black, I'm not buying any more hardware from them. But it is what it is. But I've rambled enough. We need to get into the TGS showcase.
No, it's all good, brother. It's all good.
But, yeah, a 7, solid 7. But if you're not in the ecosystem, honestly, it's like a 4 or 5 at that point. And Ghost of Tsushima is all of that score to get it to that, because that was the only real draw, I guess, to get into the ecosystem at that point if you weren't already.
All right, man. That's fair. That's fair. A lot of great points, man. I just wanted to pick you guys' brain, especially about that, and just kind of get you guys' idea on that particular point, because I've been thinking about it a little bit, man. And that's kind of what I got out of the state of play. Obviously, we had some expectations. We were, kind of given a heads up, right? Depending on who you trust in the community, that could be a bit sketchy, depending on your sources and things like that. But we kind of had a little bit of a heads up, and it kind of followed that line of what we thought it was going to be. So, Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to TGS, man. I kind of want to get into this. It's interesting too because I don't know about you guys. I know me and Pong and Fuzz. It was a big. It was kind of a left field thing for Xbox because I wasn't, they hadn't talked about it. I didn't really think they were going to be there really at all or have much of a presence. They hadn't really spoke about it. I can't remember. Maybe you guys could tell me, had they even come out and said they weren't going to be there, or were people just saying that? Because I don't recall them officially saying we're not going to do anything. They just didn't say anything until like closer to TGS. Is that accurate?
I think so, because I think people were just saying that they weren't going to show up, but I had said long ago, even if they don't show up, their partners will still be there, and I knew Blizzard was going to be there. That was a given, because even Blizzard was over at the Chinese show or the Chinese Playroom or whatever they called it. But I think it was just people automatically assumed since they didn't announce something like months in advance,
Yeah, I
or
think
they
that's
weren't
what it was.
on like the I guess the flyers for it when they were starting to print those out, that they wouldn't be there. But I kind of figured at least, somebody from Xbox or some of the teams or some of the studios would be there to show something. So
okay. All right. Well, either way, I mean, once again, depending on what your expectations were, I just kind of want to get you guys' opinion. We'll start with you again, Asante, being a guest here, you and Umbra. I don't, like I said, I didn't really have any expectations for TGS. I know we talked about it loosely last week here at the shop, and I just really wanted to see their continued work on that side of the planet. That's really all I wanted to see, Asante, because I don't really have any expectations. I mean, I just want to continue to see them grow in that area, go out there, find new developers. I guess the only thing I wanted to see was a couple, some new IPs, and I did get to see that. So that was nice. But for you, did you have any expectations going into TGS for Xbox?
So I did not necessarily have expectations, but I've been on record as saying, and I went to Gamescom. I've been on record as saying that anywhere that Microsoft decides to put a show, it needs, and they market it, which they did in this time, it needs to be something that everyone pays attention to. They need to ensure that it is something that you come away with going, oh man, they did something great. Why? Because we all know they're in the position that they're in, first off. Secondly, they have so many studios, so many publishers, so much potential to show stuff. And you whether you like it or not, you are behind. So I always want, even though we all know that the big show tends to be the Keeleys, the big show tends to be the June showcase, I want that historical reference point to change. I want every show to be that level of excitement. Now, for me, that this show did not raise to that level of excitement. I did like a lot that I saw. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I did like a lot that I saw there, but I was hoping for more, right? And this, let's be absolutely clear here. I'm not saying that the show was bad. I actually think the show was very decent, 7 or an 8. I really did like what I saw there, but I wanted them to come with some big guns, and they did not, right? Like some really big guns. Like everybody always says, oh, well, those shows aren't the big ones. The big ones, tune in for the June showcase, tune in for the Game Awards or the Keeleys, right? And while that is true, I feel that's detrimental to their global brand, right? Wherever they show up, it needs to be a barn burner of a show. And to me, this didn't rise to that level. But having said that, I really did like some of the games I saw. Sin Duality? Echoes of Ada looked amazing. I'm looking forward to playing that. Like, it looks really, really good. Since they released it, I will also say, disclosure, I did get a chance to play it at Gamescom, and that is All You Need Is Help. I don't know if you guys saw that game, All You Need Is Help.
Yeah.
It's basically, I got a chance to speak to the developer. She showed me how to play it and all this. The first thing I thought was, oh man, this will be amazing for me and my kids. Today, before this show, my kids were here with 2 of their friends, 4 controllers, set up in the living room. They were playing All You Need Is Help. Angry chaos ensued. It's hilarious. It's great. Awesome game. And if it's only 2 players, you can literally set it up so that the other 2, because you need 4 players to play, you can set it up that the controller splits in half, and the one side of the stick, the dual stick for Xbox, is one character, and the other side is the other character. So you're controlling 2 characters with one stick. So you can do a 2-player game with 4 characters. Yes. Very interesting innovative way of solving, because the game requires cooperation and requires 4 players cooperation. All four characters need to be moving, right? So if you only have 2, then you split the controller in half, and now your one controller controls 2 characters and the other controller controls the other 2 characters. So it's still 4 players. It's a very fun little amuse-bouche, if you will, of a game. It's really, really cool, really, really fun. So it was awesome that I got a chance to see that there. Like, I was one who was throwing out like haymakers. Like, I want to see them just drop the damn mic and walk away, say Forza Horizon 6 Tokyo, and just walk away.
Yeah.
You know, I need that level of hype.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I had no expectation, right? And
that's fair.
And by and large, they definitely did deliver, right? If you're talking about no expectation, they did deliver, but I want it to be, oh my God, did you see what they showed? Let's go watch the replay because it happened at 6 a.m. Right? And it wasn't that. I watched it. It was cool. It was very cool. They did a good job. I needed them to be akin to the June showcase, at least with one title, at least a little bit, and for me, that didn't happen. So I will continue to be 10 toes down and be like, look, man, you need to pay as much attention globally as you do in LA. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I think that's a fair assessment. So shout out to Shane in the chat. Shane, it's not that, we're trying to hold Xbox to some weird standard or some old, standard or anything like industry standard. No, everybody has a different perspective, and there's nothing wrong with that. They've set the standard now at a different level. Look at the Direct. We've had 2 years of examples. Go back and look at the Directs. Go back and look at these last 2 showcases. Go back and look at the Gamescom that they just put on. You know what I mean? They've raised the bar, so I think that it's only right that we expect at least that at the showcases that they show up, and I don't really think there's anything wrong with that, but that's really even too much of a stretch.
Phil was personally saying, hey, this is something you want to watch, so I was hoping that they would break that tradition of making it worth watching, right? But not, oh my God, barn burner. You know what I mean? I don't expect it to be as good as the June showcase.
No, not at all. Absolutely. Not at all.
But I want them to bring some big guns to these other shows. And I'm not just talking about TGS. I'm talking about TGS. I'm talking about Gamescom. If you saw their footprint at Gamescom, you would be floored. They spent so much money at Gamescom. It was insane. I'd never seen like what they did as I saw it there, right? So that gave me hope that, hey, they're taking this seriously, as they should, right? So yeah, for me, it was a decent show, no doubt. It was a decent show. I think they did what they were supposed to, but I'm hoping that one day when that fabled day happens and there is a Forza Horizon 6 and it's based in Tokyo, they show it in Tokyo. Show it at TGS. Don't show it at the June showcase. Make that Tokyo showcase something that people will remember, just like you do in June, and then do something else for Gamescom, right? Make every show that level of hype. That's what I'm hoping for.
And they're getting there, and I think that they're trending in the right direction for people in the comments. You know what I mean? They're going in the right direction. And
Absolutely.
You already said it. I didn't have very many expectations at TGS. Like I said before, for a very long period of time, I didn't even realize that they were even going to be there. I know they probably would have third parties there, things like that. But as far as like actually show up, actually make a big event, I didn't realize that until we got the official announcement. So I didn't really have time to think and say, well, what do I want from TGS? I just wanted to see their continued growth, their continued dedication. By trying to put resources out there, trying to gain a foothold, going to find new talent. Think about the biggest games, Asante. Think about all the biggest games the last few years. Look at where they're coming from. At least most critically acclaimed games. Look at Black Myth Wukong, China, South Korea, India. We're seeing big initiatives in those countries. And I think that, for me, is what I want to see is the work that you're putting in over there, because we know you're over there. You see pictures, we see all types of different things with different devs. So that was the biggest thing for me.
And I'll tell you real quick, like people have already like spilled a lot of tea on Black Myth Wukong and how it hasn't showed up yet, or why it hasn't showed up in all this. When it comes out, Phantom Blade Zero will be another one. I got a chance to play it. Oh boy. Oh boy, I am now 10, 15 hours into Black Myth Wukong, which obviously it's nothing. Once again, Mr. Unreal Engine 5 over there beat it. So he actually wrote a review for us, so I appreciate that. But yeah, that game is amazing. Phantom Blade Zero is better, in my humble opinion. It is so cool, right? So when these things come, we're gonna be right back at it again. You're gonna hear all the same narratives again. Why is it that they're losing it and all of this? You know, that's not something they can control, in my humble opinion, right? They can only do what they can do. Sometimes the money just isn't right. You're not the first. You're not the market leader, so it'll cost you a lot more than it costs some other guy to get to the same destination. But I feel like, yeah, they should take these places more seriously. Right?
It's just geographics too. It's home field advantage. Yeah. They're over there. Sure. That's headquarters. You know what I mean? Like Absolutely. It's not. Yeah. I can take a ferry across the water. I don't need to catch a plane. Like I don't need
exactly. See, they talked proudly about how Starfield is coming in. Is going to be localized in those languages. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, but that shouldn't be news. That, to me, and this is no shade, but I'm just being a little critical here. When you tell me I'm buying this TV and it comes with a remote, I'm looking at you side eye. It should be coming with a damn remote. It's a TV, right? You are a global brand, right? You sell all over the place. Being localized in as many of these places as possible is a minimum requirement, right? It just is. And I'm happy that they are moving in that direction. I'm happy that now more of that is happening. But shouldn't be something you tout or have to tout. It should be built in. Hey, we put our wares everywhere. So guess what? It will be in most of. I mean, I can't expect it to be in every language, but it'll be in most of the languages that our competitors who are way smaller in scale are able to do. We are not doing.
For a while, there wasn't much incentive when you're selling 300 consoles a week. So
exactly. No, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely
why do I need to put my money? You know what I mean? Like I don't really need to. But I get it. I go ahead.
To be absolutely clear, though.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was a bad show. I appreciated the show. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great. They did a good job. I just want it to be more of a barn burner. I need them to bring their A game when they show up. Anyway,
I think that's fair. The localization thing, that's something Pong. I know Fuzz has been touting that as a Forza fan. Mm-hmm. Pong's been saying that for forever about the localization issues that Xbox has. That's something that they definitely need to clean up. But let me actually just kind of do out of order here. I'm gonna actually throw this over to Pong. I want to get your opinion. Obviously, Pong, we talked about it a little bit ahead of time, before TGS, about our expectations. But kind of coming out of the show, what'd you get from that? Did you get anything new, any new excitement? Just how you feel about the overall show?
Yeah, I love the show. Absolutely. Mav and I talked about this Thursday, and Steele and I talked about this morning. I'm solid at an 8.5 for this show, and again, I don't compare it to anything else. So, I loved what they did. I thought, again, if I really wanted to nitpick something, just to pick up a little bit off of KSante here, because just to piggyback on real quick. Sure. I the only thing I would have said is the show, the way that it ended, it felt like there should have been just one more thing. But again, that's neither here nor there. I loved what I saw, and I will also say the one thing that I would love to have seen would have been a counter to the China project that PlayStation has done. Mm-hmm. That investment in some smaller studios, a group of games that they could have showed off, much like PlayStation did with the China project. Talking about Phantom Blade, which KSante just brought up, of that more adult level, darker. Again, they've done this before. They invested in Liza P, turned out great for them, etc. So they are working on that. I would just like to see the counterpunch to that a little bit. But again, that's it. Otherwise, I love this show. Overall, I really didn't have any complaints for it at all. I think that the pacing was great. Again, Tina Amini and her team are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they do it great. And I think that this had enough exciting stuff for me personally. Now, this is going to be all Eastern flavor stuff for the most part, which is not going to be everybody's bag, right? It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So I understand why some people were like, oh, this was a mid show. It's not going to appeal to everybody. For me, though, hell yeah, of course. Jumping out the gate. Excuse me, everybody. Phil just went live, or not live, recorded, but at a show to start off TGS for Xbox wearing a StarCraft t-shirt. Excuse me, and then followed that up by saying, oh, by the way, StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 are both dropping into PC Game Pass, and weirdly said, and Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, right? Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
This is a big
with
deal.
that.
Yeah.
Real quick with that, Pong, we verified in the background. I think he misspoke because they have said emphatically it is not coming to the console.
Right. It's not coming to console.
Really
now.
weird.
Now it's not coming to console.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, this is okay for us RTS fans here. This is strategy fans, right?
Shout out to Mav. He just showed up at the perfect time.
Mav knows. Mav knows. We're talking about this.
Yeah.
This is the start, folks, because don't forget now we've got the smoke that Blizzard is, oh, by the way, resurrecting potentially StarCraft Ghost. Again, and working on a first-person shooter in the StarCraft universe. If you're going to tell me that they're going to bring these two games to PC Game Pass, and they're going to have somebody working on the likes of Dan Hay, who worked on Far Cry 3 all the way through Far Cry 6. He's worked on other games as well, heading up potentially a project in the StarCraft universe, which is a first-person game. And you're going to tell me that they're not doing StarCraft 3? Are you kidding me right now? Of course they are. And that's going to be built from the ground up because as a console PC release. Because if there's one thing we now have found out, Phil and a lot of people at Microsoft do love their RTSs. And World's Edge has now perfected putting RTSs on both console and PC game day and date. Right now, we had delays with... of course, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition and Age of Empires 4 took a little bit extra time to come over to console, but Age of Mythology Retold launched day and date. This can be done. So I believe this is the start of something big. This and Phil doesn't wear t-shirts just to announce, oh, we're putting 2 older games back into PC Game Pass. That you don't do that. Like, yeah, it's a big deal for the East. But come on, everybody in the East that wants to play StarCraft owns StarCraft 1 and 2. Okay? This is setting up the future because they are rebooting this franchise yet again. They're bringing this franchise back. He knows how valuable this franchise is. Oh, by the way, the esports channel for StarCraft fired up too again, by the way, out of the blue, just randomly, after years of dead silence. Little strange. This is coming back. This is a big moment for Xbox. This is one of the games that we talked about during the acquisition process. This is one of the games that Phil highlighted time and time again. This is movement. This is big movement. So this right out the gate blew me away. This was awesome to see Phil standing there with the StarCraft t-shirt announcing both of those games coming to PC Game Pass, along with the campaigns, by the way. It's not just the multiplayer stuff. It is the campaigns. And if you've never played the StarCraft campaigns, I highly recommend you go play them. Fantastic campaigns, much like Halo Wars was awesome. Even for people who didn't like RTSs, go play through the campaigns. Worth it. And then it just rolled into Eastern stuff. Again, Age of Mythology Retold, getting the Chinese gods in there. This is a lot earlier than I thought they would have an expansion ready to rock and roll for Age of Mythology. But as a huge Age of Mythology fan, Age fan overall, oh, freaking right on. Let's go. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Easy to expand this game out. And I said, oh, by the way, the original Age of Mythology had a Eastern Gods expansion. They show up at TGS with it. Beautiful, fantastic work there. And then just real quick, a couple of the games. Again, Square Enix solidified their partnership with Xbox, which I said needed to be done. I thought it was going to happen at the Xbox Showcase.
The 7, or the 16, but
Right, and I thought 16 would be here. Again, I'm not holding my breath on 7, but there's a lot of smoke.
I just don't think that's going to happen, brother.
I think it's going to happen.
Brother.
I do think it's going to happen. Absolutely. I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen before even the third one is launched. Originally, I used to say that it's going to happen after the trilogy's complete, but I think it's going to happen before the third one's launched at this point. Square is all in. I wanted to see this for Xbox at the Xbox stage. I thought it was going to be at their showcase. That didn't happen. Then I said, well, then obviously TGS is the next spot for this to kind of solidify. Yes, I thought 16 would be here. At least the announcement that it was happening, even if they didn't give us a date, just to say, yes, we can confirm that we are getting 16 ready to come to Xbox. But that didn't work out. Okay, so no big deal. What do you give us? Oh, you give us the Final Fantasy Pixels remakes, which is the first 6 games of Final Fantasy. You offer them up for sale with a 20% discount. And then on top of that, you go, oh, by the way, yeah, you guys just saw that we put Visions of Mana on Xbox as well. Well, we want you guys to learn about the Mana series. So, by the way, Legend of Mana and Trials of Mana are both coming to Xbox too. Oh, and they're dropping into Game Pass day and date today. live right now, Shadow dropped. Beautiful, fantastic. This is awesome. This is how you build that fan base on a platform that you have chosen to weirdly give certain games to and then ignore other times. This is what Sega and Atlas did to start growing a fan base for Persona. This is what you do here for Square. So yes, Pixels is not in Game Pass, but you just dropped Visions of Mana. Let's start getting some fans of Mana series back on, because it sounds like Square does want to continue to run Mana. So why not drop the older Manas in there? There's still one missing there. Secret of Mana is still not over here. I'm assuming that'll come later. But I love to see this. Big announcement did solidify the fact that Square is trying, that this work with Xbox, and obviously this new partnership is happening, and they are serious about bringing more games. I couldn't ask for anything more here. So was really happy to see that. Then another series that has never been on Xbox before. We knew this one already. This had been shown, but to re-establish it over in the East at TGS, big deal. Atelier Yumiya, the new game. Again, this series has run under the radar for a long time. It is fairly big over in the East, all things considered, but it's that second tier level type of JRPG that when you get outside of the Personas, when you get outside of the Final Fantasies, right? Then you get to the second tier, you get the Tales series, you get the Trials series, right? You get these different series. Atelier was right in there. It just never got above everyone else's shadow. But this is like game number 6. This is not like a new series. This is pretty impressive that they've brought this series forward as much as they have. And this new one looks right in line on par with Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which did skip Xbox. And I played it on PC. I got to get back to it, actually. Fantastic JRPG, action JRPG. This series showing up on Xbox for the first time gives me hope that they're going to bring the back games as well over to Xbox. This is big. This is the work. This is the doors that Sarah and Phil have been opening over there. It's not perfect. Not every game is going to come to Xbox from the East. It's just not going to happen that way, right? But they are continuing to knock on doors, and they are getting more and more people to answer. Yes, they're dropping off bags to make this stuff happen. You got to do that in Xbox's shoes. That's okay. But they're getting people to do it, which is the big thing. And the director for Atelier Yumiya, while they were showing the new game off, actually said that one of the games that inspired him was Halo. Okay? It's just a cool interview, right? He played Halo back in the day, like the open world atmosphere. He talked about how that changed his perspective about what could be done on console. And here he is all these years making Atelier Yumiya in the series and turning it into an action JRPG and now bringing the first one to Xbox. Kind of cool, right? So thought that was dope as hell.
Very full circle moment.
Very full circle, and it was really cool. Sin Duality, Kay Asante already touched on this. I believe it was Kay that said something about it. Looks really cool, caught me kind of off guard. I like the look of that. We got another look at Suikoden Remastered, again touching on my nostalgia. I'll get to a couple of other nostalgia factors here, but Suikoden was supposed to be out this year, delayed till next year. Continues to look fantastic. I can't wait till next year when this thing drops. Slitterhead, crazy. Yes, a lot of these games are multi-plat. It doesn't matter. The fact that they're showcasing these games at an Xbox stage, at an Xbox show, that's what's important. Slitterhead, again, is not going to be for everybody. It's weird, kind of horror-esque. It does, almost lean too heavy, maybe for me in horror, but maybe not. Maybe it's on the borderline. I might try it. Weird, wild, wacky kind of horror game that you only can get from some of the minds in the East. Love to see this happening. And I thought it showed great. I thought it showed better than the first time that I saw it. Is it going to be this big, giant selling game that's going to sell 20 million copies like Black Myth Wukong? No, it's not. But is it going to be another game that you potentially would have missed if you were an Xbox only fan back just even last generation? Abso-freaking-lutely it is, but it's here now, right? And it's coming. That's the most important thing. That's what I get excited about. Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Again, I can't say enough. Nostalgia factor through the roof. This is beautiful. Dragon Quest was actually my more favorite series over Final Fantasy back in the day. This brought me back to my NES days, sleeping overnight at my buddy's house, age 12, 13, 14, playing through Dragon Quest, killing slimes all night long. They kept the original sound effects. Like, it was incredible. I was watching Mav's Cove stream while I was getting ready in the morning, and I heard the sound effects, and it just transported me instantly back. It looks fantastic. Got super excited for that one as well. And then, of course, we got Lunar. Actually, no, that was at the State of Play. Never mind, that was at the State of Play. But overall, I got to say, this show, again, just knocked it out of the park for me. Again, I don't compare it to anything else. I don't look at anything else. Yeah. It's just in a vacuum. I thought Xbox, from not having a presence, or the belief was they were not going to have much of a presence this TGS. And that, again, wherever that came from, it was kind of true, because they normally put out things right away, especially Greenberg. Tina Amini has been all over social media whenever her team's working on a showcase, say, hey, get ready, TGS, we got a lot. This was very quiet. I think the Square stuff kind of changed their ideas. I think maybe them knowing that Square was going to show up, or Square saying, hey, we're going to show up with all this stuff, maybe have been the catalyst here, where they kind of said, well, let's put together something, because it does feel like this was put together fairly quickly by Tina and her team when she started talking about it.
Like they were just waiting on a phone call or something.
And I think, but let me finally say two things. Tanuki Pond Summer, cute little anime style classic Japanese type game with the raccoon delivering papers that all of a sudden turns into Tony Hawk BMX on his bike. He's playing baseball mini games. That game really looked great. And the one that knocked it out of the park for me, brand new IP showing up on Xbox's stage, again, showing the work that they're doing over there with the smaller studios, not just the big studios like Square, but the smaller studios. They are getting some of them. Classic JRPG feeling here, but flips it on its head, and that's Threads of Time. That new JRPG where they showed you traveling back in time. I was going to say that was probably my favorite. Me and Mav both. Like Mav, I heard him on co-stream. I was watching it. I was like, yo, we talked about it Thursday night. This is the one, PTK. This is the one out of this show that really put it over the top for me. When I saw it when it first started, I was like, oh, cool. It looks like a cool little anime game. What do we got going on? All of a sudden, they show the dinosaurs running. I'm like, oh, we got dinosaurs in anime? Okay, all right, cool. And also, they transforms from the anime into the 2D JRPG, but then turns it to 2.5 and flips it on its head, and all of a sudden you're battling dinosaurs, and then all of a sudden they're talking about traveling through time, they're talking about the story, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're in a cyberpunk world, you're in the future, and then now they're battling a mech, and everything is looking gorgeous, and the powers and the attacks that they're doing, really, really cool stuff on screen. I was like, yeah, here we go. Threads of Time, put it down, lock it into place next year. Day one, we got this. And again, just goes to show Xbox is putting in the work, trying to find these smaller studios and smaller games that they can help bring to life and have them on their stage and have them on the platform for people to enjoy. Again, easy 8.5 for me all day long with this show. Loved it.
Oh, awesome. Same. So the cool thing, I'm glad you brought up that Threads of Time game, because that was a highlight for me, just to kind of get my bars off here. And like I said, I've said it already that I just wanted to see progress, Pong. We've talked about this, right? How much, all the work, all the pictures we see over there, all of the photo ops we see them taking. We know they travel over there quite often. Aaron's over there 3, 4, 5 times a year, probably more, times we don't get to see. But that's what I wanted to see. And I did get to see some progress. Right? They're continuing that relationship with Square Enix. That's gotten better. We're starting to see more and more games. People, just 4, 5, 6 years ago, you would never see these games in the ecosystem at all. The Mana games, the Personas, all these games people are getting to play now the last 4 or 5 years, like that's progress. And that's exactly what I wanted to see. Obviously, I wanted to see maybe a couple new IPs. I did get to see that as well. And they didn't need to be from large developers. I didn't care about that. Once again, there's so much talent over there. You just brought it up. Kay brought it up. I'm sure Umber will, Fuzzy will too, that like there's so much talent over there. You don't need a gigantic studio. And that talent over there is proving that they don't need $500 million and 500 people to make a great game. And we've seen that multiple times throughout the last couple of years. So, and I think that's what I saw. I saw progress. So I'm really excited. Like you said, it kind of came out of nowhere because I didn't expect them to even be there. I had no indication really at all that they were going. So to see them show up, put on an actual show. I know it wasn't the big blowout. I know you talked about Gamescom, K. It wasn't that, but it's progress. And I love it. And once again, shout out to Tina Amini, Pong. That's the MVP over there, man. Cheers. The MC really is probably the best hire
underneath Phil. Absolutely, hands down, one of the best hires underneath Phil ever. Yep,
1,000%. She's changed the way they do shows. She's made every show. I think she's finally gotten through that. this shit's really important, Microsoft. Like this is important. Like we need to put on a show. Like we need to come out here and really put on a show for the people that support us.
She just understands what gamers go to look at for shows, right? That she understands the gamer mentality and what we want to see and what we don't need to have messing up the show. We just want gameplay with some cool devs sitting down and doing some, a little bit of reactionary, giving us a little behind the scenes, but just give us gameplay and give us games and give us things to look forward and keep that pace going and don't slow it down with a bunch of BS. That's what she knows how to do. She's
trim the fat. She came in and absolutely trimmed the fat, so to speak. So shout out to Tina and Meanie and the team. They nailed it once again. Like I said, I don't have a number, but like I said, about 8.5 to me as well. I landed about there. I actually watched that Threads of Time trailer again today, by the way. Great looking game. Reminds me like the Uden Chronicles game as far as like the visuals, as far as how beautiful it looks. Not the gameplay is a little different, but super, super intriguing. So let me throw this over to you, Umbra. TGS, man. Don't know if you had any expectations going into TGS, Umbra, but like, what'd you get from it?
Well, Pong, I think, kind of wrapped it all up because it sounded like he just did a whole entire recap of the entire show.
I did with my favorite because I love the show, man. It had a lot that I liked.
I can hear the love. I can hear the love, so I appreciate it. I'm going to take a different approach just because of that, and I feel you on that because if I would have talked before you, I likely would have done the same because those things did register to me the same way to you. Now my score was different though, and it's because I have a different metric for how I'm looking at it, but. So I'm going to take a different angle here. Threads of Time, just to get it out of the way. There's no need for me to hold on to that. That was clearly the game of the show. No, not even a question.
Oh, that's three. There's three of us. Sweet.
Yeah. I think most of us kind of saw that. Like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I heard that it was exclusive to Xbox and to PC. So it's exclusive on console to Xbox. So that differentiates it from like PlayStation.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't know they confirmed that. Is that the dev came out? Okay,
I didn't see that myself. To be fair, let me make sure I state that.
Okay.
That I was told this on a podcast. I forgot who mentioned it. I think it was Garuda Intruder on.
That's cool. They need to grab a couple of them. I'm 100% with that.
So that differentiates it from the PlayStation Showcase where third party was, also going to be on Xbox. That Threads of Time is specific to Xbox and Steam or whatever, or PC or whatever, from what I was told. So that is, I'll give it that automatically. Psychonauts is saying it too. So yeah, so that's one. Threads of Time, I think, Pong, you explained it very well. It definitely, into Psychonauts' credit, it definitely did have a Chrono Trigger / Final Fantasy HD 2.5 feel to it. Visuals are gorgeous.
And,
I love the anime cutscenes. What was that?
Real quick, Umbra. I'm looking on the Threads of Time actual website, their original dev website. Yeah, only Steam and Xbox, nothing else.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I believe Garuda said on their website. It only showed Xbox and Steam or PC or whatever, but it didn't show PlayStation and such. And no dev is really doing that if it's not playing. If it's on
at all.
But so that's a good get for Xbox there. So I'm going to give them credit there. What I will hold them against them, though, and to Kay's point, is you want to kind of, I think, bring our brothers into the Xbox ecosystem further, not only with just Game Pass, because I didn't really see them push Game Pass as hard as they could have, and that's that service, because I've heard that that's been an uptick in interest in that. So I really wish they would have sold Game Pass heavier. Also, I would say, having that big oomph to say, look, this game is also specific for your region, right? Like he mentioned with Forza. I thought that was a great idea. I remember hearing you say that the other day, Kay, where they added like a Forza option, like a Tokyo, or something. Like, I think if they'd had a Forza DLC, for instance, in Forza Motorsport for Tokyo or something, the races going on and around Tokyo, I think that'd have been a cool something to add to the show, right? Not that they would have them, I guess, plan and plot just for DLC specifically for that, but now of course it's too late. But if that would have been one of the measures to kind of entice them a bit to say, yeah, this could be something that you all could get into. Furthermore, I'll add this: Threads of Time is great get. I want them to go bigger if they're not going to have first party do that thing. Get something like a Final Fantasy, and they did get Final Fantasy pixel remasters or remastered or whatever which is great. That's a great get. 1 through 6. I'm going to get it myself. Not sure which platform just yet as far as Steam or Xbox, but I do love my achievements, so probably Xbox. But my thing is this: many people, be they wrong or right, expected a Final Fantasy 16 or something. I think that would have been, if they would have got that, I think it would have elevated the show that much more to get something big like that to come to the platform. We know what's going to happen. We know it's going to happen at some point. So it's a foregone conclusion. But I think that would have elevated the show that much more to say, yeah, also another Final Fantasy 16. We know we're not getting 7 or Rebirth and yet, because I'm sure they're going to finish out that trilogy and then maybe port it over. But it's been a long time coming for those major ones, and I would have liked to have seen that pop up there. But I'm sure it's coming. Like I said, it's going to be on Xbox at some point. I've beaten it already, so it's nothing to me. But I know it's something to get finally on Xbox. Where was I going to go with that? To that measure, they did add 5 new games to Game Pass. As far as Legend and Trials of Mana.
Is it Trials or Visions?
That's dope. Yeah. All you need is help. Like Kay was mentioning, I was talking to you about that the other day, Kay, where I said we need to try to do a little co-op session or something. It's 4-player co-op, by the way, that you all can do with that. And each person controls the block and everything. It looks fun. It looks goofy. It looks very Japanese. That's the best way I could put it. It looks like the type of game they would like. It's a really goofy, kind of fun, charming kind of game. It's definitely a Japanese made game for a Japanese, as they would say, a Japanese ass crowd, right? But those types of things also appeal to me. I know a lot of Xbox guys, they kind of have this standoffishness when it comes to a lot of Japanese based titles, be they action based or like the Atelier, like you mentioned a minute ago, Atelier. How do you say that name?
Atelier.
Yeah. Thank you. I could not pronounce that to save my life the other day. Yeah. Atelier Yuma, that right there might speak to a lot of people, because that to me, it reminded me of Genshin Impact when I saw it. That's what I took from it. So that's a nice little get, I think, and they also have Genshin Impact on Xbox now. So I think that's a nice get for those reasons. I had no idea it was a long running series, by the way. That was the first time I've ever heard of it that day. So that's a great get for that audience. But I think a lot of our Xbox brethren kind of pull back when it comes to a lot of these types of titles, and I would really love for them to expand on the genres and games that they really try to get into. And I've had this conversation with Risky, I had it with Holly, other people like that they have their games. They got the games they love, the Fallouts and the, what I mean,
Western RPGs now,
the Western style games, right? So I love a lot of Japanese titles and genres, so that's nothing to me. Katamari, I downloaded that the other day and been playing it on ROG Ally. It plays excellent on a handheld. Of course, you knew it would. It's a very weird and quirky type of game, but it is fun. It is something cool to have, especially on the go. So if any of my raw goons in the chat, definitely try it out. Download it and try it out. It's not a big download. Go ahead and try that out and enjoy it. It's in Game Pass. Why not, right? I downloaded Legends. Legends looks excellent. Legend of Mana. It's beautiful, the remaster they did for that. Definitely going to get through that as well. They showed this in the showcase too. Now, I couldn't give this to the showcase, but it was shown there, so I'm going to mention it. Metaphor Refantasio. I'm going to do a write-up for that.
I'm hearing great things about that game.
I have never played any of Persona games.
What about the Shin Megami Tensei?
Never played.
Never? Okay.
Now, Shin Megami led to Persona, which now this leads from that, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying that Persona 5 was about 100 hours. This is going to be comparable to that as far as length. I don't mind that because I put in hundreds of hours into JRPGs. The Octopath Travelers both got 200 plus hours for me. So that right there is perfectly fine. I tried this. I loaded it up. The demo for Refantasio. I loved it. I loved it.
Umbra, this is going to be Game of the Year quality.
It might be.
You think so, bro?
I've already seen too many people. I've already seen too many people jump into this prologue demo, and within a couple hours saying this is on another. This is Atlas's new masterpiece.
What do you think? And Xbox debuted it, right? That's crazy, and it's
They got
attached
the
to
marketing.
Xbox. It's crazy.
They got the marketing, and it is amazing. I suggest everybody go download the Prologue demo. And you're again, they're doing the smart
I'm gonna do
thing.
it. Fuck it.
It carries over to the full purchase. It carries over the full purchase. So any of your progress carries right on over. It's beautiful. Like this game, there's something magical about this game. It's not Persona. It's a brand new IP, but it's got this familiarity to it that's really weird. Like I was saying on sorry, Umbra, I'm taking your time. On split screen this morning, but it's you brought this up, so I wasn't going to touch it because I was like, oh my God.
Does Steel play it?
Yes, Steel is not, but we convinced him to. He's going to download it and try it. He's going to stream it. He's going to record it too. So we'll have some gameplay from him next week probably. But the thing is that to me, this does not feel like a new IP when you jump into it, because a lot of times that's why we give new IP kind of a little slack, because it takes the team a while to, get that going. And usually the sequel is where, just like Mass Effect, I always bring up Mass Effect, even though I like Mass Effect 1 better than 2. Most people think that 2 is the better game, obviously. So that's usually what happens. This feels like they are deep into the series already. This feels like they've already established this game, and it's the brand new IP, and the characters that they again, I'm early. I'm an hour and 45, 2 hours in. The characters they start introducing already have got my attention, even those like mysterious ones that show up and then leave, and you're like, who the F was that? I need to know who this person. They've already got me that way. The anime cutscenes are top tier quality. Like Alice is not fooling around. Like this is. We are seeing how we used to talk about how we used to talk about BioWare being in their prime, right? You're seeing peak Atlas right now between the Persona series and what they're doing right now with Metaphor Refine. I'm telling you, this is going to be in Game of the Year conversations. If the whole game is like this and it's 100+ hours and it's this level, Persona-like level, this is going to be Game of the Year conversation. I'm not saying it's going to win it, but I'm saying it's going to be in that conversation as a brand new IP. We are seeing peak Atlas right now. It's special. Sorry, Umbro.
No, you good. You said it all right, and I co-sign it 100%. Like, I've never played any of the Personas, so I cannot judge how those felt. But what I can absolutely agree on a few things. One, the anime cutscenes are top tier, really well done. I love the art style of this game, by the way, and I know it's reminiscent of their other titles, but this right here being set in this kind of fantasy, high fantasy kind of setting, and you see all the politics in play. You see like this kind of sim. I don't know how to explain it, but this kind of sim relationship thing where you mix with these interpersonal conversations with people and stuff like that, and build up on that, and it plays into not just the gameplay, but into your powers and stuff like that. I'm doing a write up on it, like a preview write up. I might post it to the blog because it's going to be.
Hey, you played this yet?
I installed it this afternoon. Had the kids all day. I wasn't sure the content, so I haven't played it yet because I wanted to wait till they go to bed. But yeah, I'm planning on playing it this evening.
Yep. So I'm going to post a preview to the site, for the blog. I'll send it to you. It comes out, sir. By the way, Abacab. It comes out October 11th. That's how interested it got me. I looked it up. Like, hold on, when is coming? I'm getting this. So, like, again, I don't play these types of games. I'm not the biggest turn-based fan outside of the 2D version of turn-based. I like those a lot. The Octopath Travelers again had me. But this right here was so well done. Even the voice acting is really solid too. I want to throw that out there. Voice acting, the musical score is nice. I don't know. It's so much praise I can heap on it in so little time. The demo is about 4 to 6 hours long. I tend to take longer in these types of games. That's just how I am.
I know somebody that put over 10 in. So
because I'm at
stretch
9
it
hours.
out.
Yep, I'm at 9 hours, and because I roam around, look around, like, what's this? What's that right there? The shiny thing. So I'm all. That's me. Piece of candy. That's me when it comes to these types of games, right? I love a lot of. You know what? Another thing I love is it sounds silly, but to me, it's just dope. The silent protagonist thing, I kind of get annoyed with that. There's only so many characters that can get away with that. Master Chief is kind of a silent protagonist. He talks here and there. But the silent protagonist JRPG thing is kind of a tired trope for me. I like hearing a voiced character. The character actually here is voiced. I named my character, by the way, Yuri, which I think fits for him. Yuri, Yuri. I think it fits for him because he's kind of a little like pretty boy or whatever, but it fits him to me. But I was taken away by the charm of this world, how well done the anime cutscenes are. I'm intrigued. I hate to sound like a professor, but I'm intrigued by the politics and the interpersonal connections of these other characters.
Well, hell, you guys are selling me on a game, and I don't. And once again,
I'm
even far away from that genre than you are, to be honest.
Yeah, so you might be, but like, I think give it a try. Check out the demo and see for yourself to see how it is. But I really, really liked it, and I'm not heaping praise for nothing. And I saw people mentioning, like you said, Pong, that it could be in a game of the year conversation. I was like, yeah, see. And when I tried it, I'm like, no, I see exactly what they mean. And these are people who probably played other games and from Atlas that knew better. I didn't know any better, but now I do. I have seen the glory. But all of that said, it was a lot of other good things. And I had to change my score because I'll end it here because I'm sorry to drag on, but I initially had the show TGS scored at a 6, and it was based off a few things. One, I thought the pacing was decent. I didn't think it had that to kind of carry it through outside of threads of time. But after hearing both Kay and Pong kind of expand on their thoughts on it, I kind of rethought it. So I'm going to up that score to a 7 or 7.5 because there are a lot of games. Like for me, there are a lot of games I will actually play. So for the average Xbox gamer, it's not going to score. For the average Xbox gamer, it's probably like a 5, right? But for me, a lot of this does speak to me. So going by from what I know, I will absolutely play that was shown there. Now this is multi-plat, so I'm not going to give them extra points for this, and we've seen it already. But Metal Gear Solid 3, or Snake Eater Delta, man, it looks really good. Like I'm hyped for that now. Like it's looking better and better. You saw StarCraft remastered in part 2 coming to Game Pass. Now it's on PC, so there is the downturn of that. And I know you all had that conversation on your show earlier, Kay. But I might give that a try. I have a PC. I have a capable PC, so I might give that a try. I wish they can figure it out and get it on console too. But that is cool. They got the Tanuki game you guys mentioned. I don't know how, as a brother, I feel running around as a raccoon doing stunt tricks, but
I see what you did there.
You get me. But I might try it. Let me see. So you had that. You had the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. You got the Mana series from Legend and what's the word? Trials coming to in Game Pass right now. All You Need Is Help is in Game Pass. I'm going to try that. Let me see what else we had. You had Age of Mythology with the China expansion. You had what else did we have? It's a few other things that I'm trying.
Nobody mentioned that Bleach game.
Oh, Bleach,
I'm a Bleach fan, so
yeah. Bleach fell off so hard. That's why people probably kind of forgot about it.
Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
Hard to say it. It did.
No. That's a whole nother. We'll be here another 2 hours, but go ahead.
I have heard that the new arc, as far as
I was like, come on now,
arc, whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
to
you.
their credit. But like, it's a lot of good stuff, man. The We Love Katamari also obviously came to Game Pass. So some of the things again were stuff we had already seen. So that's why I'm kind of like, I can't give them credit for stuff we've already known about. You know what I mean? I know that right there is just for that audience over there. It doesn't do anything for us now. We've seen these things, right? So that's part of why I kind of had to score lower too. But in general, a lot of these games, like you mentioned too, Suikoden, that's another one. So Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered looks really good. Now we've already seen that, but I'm definitely going to play that. Now, what it would have been even cooler is if they like, hey, we got this coming to Game Pass. Then that would have gave it an extra little something. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. I think if they can just kind of, and Slitterhead, by the way, I love the premise for it, but man, does it look janky as hell. That movement and the way they're doing it just does not look like it's ironed out well. So I want them to get that right. But it definitely gives you that Parasite, that Parasite, if you all know the anime or manga, that it definitely gives you that vibe. So yeah, And I mean, I can name some other things. Obviously, like I said, stuff we've already seen. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, definitely getting that, but we've seen it already. You know what I mean? So there is it's a mixture of things we've already seen where I can't give it more than anything.
That's fair.
So I'll just land at a 7 out of 10 because I had to rethink it and say a lot of these do speak to me.
All right, that's fair. I think that's fair, man. That's a fair score. Like I said, I had about an 8.5. I'm probably gonna land 8.5 in my opinion. But Fuzz, before we wrap this thing up, bro, got to get your opinion on TGS, man. I know we talked about this last week, and we didn't really have very many expectations, right? We didn't really know, we had some things that we would like to see. I think I even asked you guys for a left field pie in the sky choice as well too. But just what'd you get out of that TGS for you?
I gave it a 7. Some interesting games. Not all of them hit for me, but they are definitely interesting games that we get to the platform, as well as, Square showed up. That was probably the biggest thing. Yeah, a little disappointed that 16 didn't make the cut, but it's coming eventually. And same thing with 7. I always kind of figured they would wait until after the third, or at the time when the third releases. Maybe we get all 3 at the same time, or shortly thereafter type of deal. But in the grand scheme of things, it was great to see that Square showed up with the partnership and having some of those games come into Game Pass, that day. And I guess moving forward, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. I'm pretty sure they're looking at the relationship that Xbox has with Capcom as well as with Sega, and how well those other publishers have done. So if Square keeps this up, and we get 16, and I think that's something that we'll probably get before the end of the year. I think that will be, I guess that'll make up for all of the the craziness that we've had off and on between, us and Square kind of deal. But the highlights for me, Slitherhead, even though with its jankiness, I just like the fact that you can bounce from, I guess NPC to NPC. And there's a couple of scenes where it shows like somebody jumping off a building, but before they go splat, you hop to another person. So that leads for a rather interesting, playthrough kind of thing. But the raccoon thing, that game, I get some of the visuals might not be perfect, or might not be a good thing for a person of color, but it looks like a fun game all in all. So I'll give that one a try. Definitely looking forward to All You Need Is Help. That one, when I saw it, I think it was the June showcase that they first showed it, like in like a sizzle reel or something. Been waiting for that. So to have it come to Game Pass that day was pretty cool. Haven't gotten a chance to play it. Still been on my State of Decay 2 grind, but yeah, for the most part, I think Sinduality was the other game that kind of stood out for me.
Yeah.
And I think that was pretty much it for me. But outside of that, just the variety of games that they had. It wasn't the biggest showcase of the year for them, but it definitely landed, I think, for that region. I love Kay's idea as far as if they had, teased us with something like Forza Horizon 6 in Tokyo or something along those lines. But even with what they showed there, I'm satisfied. The one thing that I was hoping that would be shown, and I don't know, maybe it's because of Stadia. I figured that Kojima's game would be earlier than Death Stranding 2, but that was the one that I was hoping we would get to see a little bit more of OD. Whatever, like I guess the first collaboration that he does with Peel or something like that, and see how that goes. And then, maybe the subsequent announcements for, the other directors and producers and things that he'll be working with. But that was the only thing that I would think was missing from the show. Outside of that, I asked for, some new IPs. We got to see those with studios that they haven't worked with before. And I think that's the biggest thing moving forward. It goes to show that some of the work that, Phil and Sarah have been doing, flying back and forth over to that region, it's paying off. And, we'll continue hopefully to see more and more of these things coming to the platform. But, solid 7.5. Not everything appealed to me, but that's the beauty of it. I'm pretty sure if something appealed to pretty much anybody or everybody that watched it can walk away with at least something that was, attention getting for them, even if it's just the, collaboration with Overwatch and, what do you call it? Hero Academia and stuff. So, it was a decent show nonetheless.
See, Fuzzy, that's what I was talking about with hype, right? It didn't have to be anything. Imagine they dropped the mic with the last bit is showing Koji and what the next steps are in that game. That would have elevated everything so far above, right? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about when I say
we get what you're saying. It's just that people like to take that and run with it. You know what I mean? Like, we understand what you're saying about, that period at the end of the sentence, right? Just to hit home that you guys are important as well. Like, we don't just show out on our home field. We show out everywhere we go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what more along the lines what you were talking about. But that's a lot of great points for us. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show with that. But once again, guys, appreciate everybody in chat. You guys are fucking amazing, fucking awesome. Everybody came through. We will be back streaming through Twitter here. I'm going to go ahead and just get the premium or Twitter Blue, whatever you call it. So that way I can go ahead and start, streaming back there as well too. Cause I know a lot of people love to watch it there. It seems to be a bit easier just to catch it in the feed, but I appreciate all you guys for coming through. We took the link. All you guys came out, showed up, showed out. All of the love in chat. You guys are freaking amazing. And I make sure you guys go show some support to everybody here as well, too. All of the information down below. But let me just get into the individual pleasantries. We'll start with you, Mr. K. Asante. I appreciate you, brother. You know how I feel about you personally, man. I love you, your family. You're such a good dude in general. And I love having you here at the show, man. We don't have you here as often as I would like, but, time permitted, you always make time for the show. So I appreciate you, brother, but let everybody know where they can find you as well.
Sir, I have been an avid watcher of this show before I even started podcasting. So it's always an honor to be
every time you say that, it fucks me up, dude. I don't believe people say something. I don't never believe people. I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, get out of here.
For real. Like, cool, you, man. Boom, a few others. I've been watching you guys forever. And I appreciate being allowed to come on the show and speak. And it's always wonderful to be able to reconnect with my brothers in this community, right? Yeah, facts. There is everyone on this stage, always really well thought of, really introspective ideas. They think they remind me of things that I don't remember, some things some ideas that I wouldn't have thought of. So I'm always learning whenever I'm communicating with you guys. So thank you so much for having me. You can find me, K. Asante, TG Asante on all the places. Myself and Everborn Saga do the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturday mornings. And then myself and John Wolf do a more PC-focused show, more handheld-focused show on Monday nights, and that's the Gamers Playground. Actually, Pong, I want to see if I can invite you to the Gamers Playground at some point, because you're speaking a lot of that PC talk right now, and I appreciate that, sir.
Oh, my God. I'm such a lightweight, bro. Give me a break. I mean, terrible.
No. It's about the games you play and where you're playing them. I appreciate that. I want to hear your journey into getting that, right? So
absolutely.
Awesome that you're doing that.
We're about to make that happen. All right, bro.
Absolutely. I will also say, these days, myself and a few of the guys in the community started a little venture. Myself and Everborn Saga, and we've been kind of plugging away at it in the background. It is thegamingcircle.com, which is our little blog. If you go there, thegamingcircle.com, you'll see all of our previous episodes and all that. But if you hit that blog section, we have made it a communal place where people can get some ideas out. So whether it be a preview, whether it be a review, whether it be just talking about being an adult, being a parent, and gaming, and how you traverse that divide. There's a lot of great articles. Mr. Infinite Umbra himself has also contributed, and as he said, he will contribute some more. We're always adding more content. We strive for more evergreen content and not necessarily the news of the week. You know what I mean? Like, I love having that conversation that whenever you happen to get to it, it's still very much relevant to you as a gamer. So come check us out, thegamingcircle.com, and leave some comments on some of the articles that have been written there. It'll let the writers know that you appreciate them. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Once again, you guys know what to do. Go check out Forza. Shout out to Everborn, to the other half of the Gaming Circle podcast. Well, I got to show love to Mr. Sega himself, man. But shout out to you, Asante, for coming through. Hopefully we can have you back sooner than later, and hopefully I can bring my ass to your show if I remember my own damn schedule.
Whenever you're ready,
I know, right? For sure. I'm gonna make sure I make time, bro, to come on. So as soon as I have time on Saturday, bro, I will be there. I mean, I'll message you just to see if you're available. So for sure, brother. Appreciate it, man. But gonna throw this over to Umbra, man. Appreciate having you on, Mr. UE5. Always loving we can't have too much bald and beautiful, here at the Shop Podcast, brother. But great having you here, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, G.
Yes, sir. Always a blast to to kick it with you good gentlemen, and like Kay, I repeat those sentiments of his. I learn a lot just listening to you guys and soaking in game when it comes to talking about gaming. So yeah, cheers to all of you, and thank you for having me again. Of course, I had to try to counterbalance Pong, so I felt I would have to do something to help out. No, but it was a fun conversation as always, and I love hearing you guys' thoughts and takes on things. So, thank you for having me. As far as where to find me, rather, you can find me on I almost said Instagram. That's how disconnected I am from Twitter right now. But I won't leave. You can find me on Twitter X, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Xbox Factor on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern. My show, The Fix, at 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays, and on Fridays, the Infinite Podcast with myself, Risky for the Biscuit, That Blue Number, Dante Moody, and Garuda here and there when he can be free and running away from the man who gives him cakes. As far as also, the K mentioned it already with the blog, the Gaming Circle blog. I am going to do a ReFantazio write-up, like a preview for it as well. So you all please be on the lookout for that on the timeline. I'll share it. I'll try to get it done. If not by tomorrow, the day after. I'm going to start on it now and get some things ironed out. But yeah, man, thanks again for having me, guys.
I appreciate you, and you guys know what to do. Go follow Umbra as well too. All his information, as well as Kay Asante's information, is down in the description. All links to the websites, the YouTube channels, the Twitter pages, all of that. I try to make sure I get everything so that way you guys don't have a reason not to go check them out. So shout out to you, Umbra, for taking time, staying up to hang out with us as well too, brother. Thank you so much, and hopefully you'll be back sooner than later. Maybe I can even make it to you guys' show as well too sometime soon, brother. Appreciate it. And on to my brothers, man, the two gentlemen that make this show what it is. Mr. Pong, so another great one, man. Had an all-star panel tonight, brother. Glad to be back this week, man. The timing seems to be perfect, bro, and I don't even realize it, but a lot of times we get guests and you guys hadn't been on the show in like 6 months or something, so it always seems to work itself out, brother.
Yeah, man, what a great way to end the night. Real quick, too, I saw Calorie bring this up earlier in the chat, too, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Anybody who isn't paying attention, Kojima just had a huge presentation of Death Stranding 2 and TGS.
Photo mode.
Yeah, listen, y'all, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out of it. Unfortunately, it was not, it didn't have any captions, either on the PlayStation side or on Kojima's side as well while it was live, so you couldn't really understand anything because it was all straight Japanese. But they did run through some cutscenes. They did show off some of Death Stranding 2. I haven't watched the rest of it to know exactly what they did, but go check out the photo mode that he is doing in that Decima engine. Listen, this is why I've always said, I don't care what you think about Kojima. He is good for this industry because he pushes boundaries. This photo mode, and I'm a photo mode freak. You guys know this, right? I love my photo modes. He is taking it to another level. The shots that he's getting out of this and the way that he has them animated while you're taking the picture to get these real life moments is absolutely stunning and incredible. I can't wait to see more of this thing. So go check that out real quick. I saw Calorie bring it up before, so just wanted to give everybody.
You heard that right, Umbra? Umbra, you heard that, right?
Yeah.
Unreal, unlike Unreal. That's a different thing. Just put that out there. I'm just saying.
Decima's giving us some run for his money on this.
Decima's crazy. Decima's crazy. How they updated that and kept that thing updated for the latest mocapping that he does is just phenomenal work, man. Just phenomenal. So anyways, I just wanted to shout that out real quick. But yeah, thanks to Kay Asante and Umbra, both of you brothers. It's always great. Umbra, I hear you too much, but it's always good to have you here. But Kay, I don't get get to hear you enough, man. So it was awesome, doubly awesome to have you here and back in the Shop Podcast with us. So thank you again for giving us your time tonight, gentlemen. Appreciate both of you so much. And of course, my brothers, Fuzzy, missed you last week, man. Missed you not being able to talk to you on Xbox Ultimate last night. So awesome to hear your voice again, man. Glad everything's going well, and glad you got to enjoy some drive-in movie theaters, man. I missed that last weekend. So and PTK, you know, all love, brother. So you are one of the best in the business right here, sir. And I am honored to be a part of this show for as long as I have been. So thank you, brother, for another great Saturday night. Chat, absolutely awesome, amazing. Again, another week where not everybody agreed with everything that was shown, whether it was good, whether it was bad, or whatever. But man, we're getting more games, and that's the most important thing this week. Like, we're getting more games. Like, not everything's going to be for you, but my God, the golden age continues, and there's some really, really cool things coming. So glad that you all joined us tonight and could listen to us BS about this stuff, but appreciate every single one of you, because again, without you, this show is absolutely nothing but a bunch of cool guys that I think are cool sitting around chatting Xbox Live. So, but you guys make it a show. So thank you for being here. Nothing but love and respect. And again, you guys know how to find me. Pong Soul on X, formerly known as Twitter. Pong Soul on the Xbox. Pong Soul on Steam. Pong Soul on GOG. Epic. Wherever. Find me. I'll find you back. And then, of course, next week, you got to join Double Barrel Gaming. You got to join Mr. Boomstick for Xbox Factor on Tuesdays. All Good Things Green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Go check him and the crew out there. My week starts on PM to PM. Pong and Mav in the PM, where Mav, for some reason, decided to give me control of the show. God help him. But we've been doing it a long time now. We have a great time on Thursday nights. Two-man show over on the Fun Speculation Network. Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, PM and the PM. Be there for that. And then Fridays, Xbox Ultimate should be back this week. Mav had to get some stuff taken care of, so we didn't have a show last night. But Fridays is where the family gets together. We have lots of laughs, but we have lots of good talk also on the Fun Speculation Network. Xbox Ultimate, Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, unless Steele and I got something going on, which we did have to skip last Saturday. Thankfully, Helene took a little bit of a right turn and got away from Steele, because Steele was lined up where it was going to get quite bad for him. And again, continued prayers and energy to everybody that's been in the path of the storm. Absolutely horrendous stuff going, that I've seen now with the flooding and that kind of stuff. But we did get to go live this week, thankfully, for Living Split Screen, and Steele and I were back. We did 5.5 hours this morning, even though he was about to fall asleep because it's his work week and he came off a nice big shift, so he had been up for 18 hours, but we still did 5.5 hours. Crushed it out of the park. Talked about some topics that not everybody's going to find fun to talk about, but that's me and Steele. But we did talk a lot of gaming too. Next Saturday will be the same thing. Living Split Screen every Saturday morning. Split Screen, all one word, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there, and then God willing, back here for another episode of the Shop Podcast next Saturday night. Listen, y'all, it's a golden age of gaming. I'll continue to say it. I don't care what anybody else wants to try to convince you. This is not a bad time in gaming outside of, the business side of things. But gaming-wise, heck no. I've never had more to play in my entire life. This is lifetime's worth of gaming right now being dropped in our laps. Get out there, play what you love what you play. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. PTK, back to you, sir.
Appreciate you, sir, man. Go check out Pong. The easiest way to go follow him, he is going to go to social media, going to go to Twitter, X, going to follow him there. Easiest way to keep up with everything he has going on every single week. But appreciate you, Pong, bringing that energy to Duracell battery of the Shop Podcast every week. And last but not least, my boy Fuzzy Belvedere back. Missed you last week. Missed that energy, brother. Glad to have you here, man. But let everybody know where they can find you, Fuzz.
Well, glad to be back, and it was so awesome to be on here with you guys, and love hearing Kay Asante and Umbra's thoughts on things, and just miss talking with you, PTK and Pong. Just, I enjoy going to the movies with the wife, but it's always fun to kick back and just talk about games and just shoot the shit with you guys. So missed that last week. Love being here with you guys. Love everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already. We greatly appreciate it. And then for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. Usually posting stuff in reference to games I'm playing, but for the most part, or horror movies and things I'm going to see. But you can always find all the other podcasts I'm going to be on, like Pixelated Echoes tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on just do a search on YouTube for Pixelated Echoes with me and 3-Bit. Xbox Lunch Break Special 12 noon on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL. And then later that evening on FSP on Fun Speculations channel. And then looking forward to hopefully seeing everybody right back here next Saturday, same time, same place. Hope to see you guys in the chat. Thanks again.
Awesome. Go follow Fuzz too. All this information is down in the description below. And your host here, PTK Blam, man, such a phenomenal show. Great guests. We will be back doing the same thing, same time next week as well. So just look forward to that, man. Appreciate you guys in chat as well too. Got more videos on the way. Been working on a couple things behind the scenes. So I'm really actually excited about that because putting in a little bit more work on the channel here. So that's always good for me. But like I said before, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please be safe. Go play some games. Have some fun. Peace out, everybody.
Later.